Yes, indeed. A very good afternoon and welcome to Marvel Stadium, North Melbourne and Sydney on AFL Nation this afternoon for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety, and for Macca's. Catch a quarter pounder range meal at Macca's today. These two clubs, well, they fought out the 1996 grand final, and it is the 25-year plus one anniversary. COVID ruining the reunion of the 25-year celebration of North Melbourne's 1996 premiership win, and we've just seen some fantastic scenes of some of the greats of that football club and members of the 1996 premiership inducted into life membership at the North Melbourne Footy Club to the warm applause of some of the 1996 premiership teammates. So Mark Roberts out there, Robert Scott, whose son is playing today, Peter Bell, Matty Capuano, Stuart Anderson, Glenn Freeborn. It was great to see some of the very best names and biggest names that have put on the blue and white jumper out there to pay their respects and celebrate that history-making 1996 flag against a Sydney side then, but a Sydney side now who sit just 2 points outside top four, so this game really important to them. For North Melbourne, well, it's been a big news week for them as well. All in, according to Eddie Maguire, on Alistair Clarkson, and genuinely believing they are a chance to secure the signature of the greatest coach of the modern era. And for Sydney, Buddy Franklin, should I stay or should I go? Contract talks being put off until the end of the year. Reports from Michael Atkinson from Channel 9 in Brisbane saying that he'd told the Swans that he would not be signing with them for next year and that Brisbane was his preferred destination. News to both those clubs, apparently, but the statement yesterday that contract talks officially put on hold until the end of the year so he can focus on his footy and even decide whether he wants to continue one of the greatest careers that we've ever seen. So much to talk about from a footy point of view. North, well, they just need a win, and the Swans, they want to get back into the top four. Sam Hargrave joined by a couple of the best, Nick Dalsano, Josh Jenkins, and JJ, just to you first and foremost before we dig into this, the 16 minutes of radio that I heard from you on Friday, some of the most compelling ever. I know you don't want to make this all about you, but I wanted to check in. It's been a big week in terms of the news cycle. Eddie coming out courageously, going on record in the book to say what happened at that pre-season camp, and then you followed it up. And I just thought it was incredible to listen to you. How has the response been from Friday? It would have been one of the bigger days of your life. Yeah, it was. It was a big day. It was a big day, but it was a good day. As I said, it was a good day and a sad day, because sad that sort of we are where we are, but good that, you know, I guess we can start to put some finality and closure on the whole situation. It's been great to reconnect with a few ex-teammates who haven't felt as confident to speak out and have been feeling similar or the same thing. So yeah, it's been a big weekend, and I've just thrown myself into work. I did some SEN track yesterday, which was great therapy, just to watch a few horse races and not think about it. And the same thing today, just watch a good game of, well, hopefully a good game of footy. But I appreciate that. It's been a big weekend. Have you received plenty of support, and have you had anyone officially reach out from you from Adelaide, the AFL, or the Players Association? I have, yes. Yeah, I've had plenty of people reach out. Had a great conversation with Rob Chapman, who was the former chairman, who I've largely had a good relationship with. So yeah, for a lot of players. Well, as I said, I've reconnected with heaps of teammates from that era, and probably just to check in on each other. So it's been good. Okay, thanks for filling us in on the latest, and well done again for speaking up in the way in which you did. If you haven't listened to it, sen.com.au, I strongly suggest that you do. Nick Dalsano, hello. Hello, Sam. Hello, JJ. Lovely to be here. Looking forward to this game for different reasons. Now, the expectation as I drove here, the half an hour drive here, I often think, what are we going to expect today and how's this going to play out? And I think I see the Sydney Swans winning comfortably, but it is very crucial about margins and percentages. So from that perspective, top four, how the other teams fall in place, a couple of big games after this one as well, but a lot of intrigue. And from a North Melbourne perspective, it's as simple as this: compete. And compete for longer than you have been previously. It's not about winning or losing for their footy club at the moment, but it's about putting your best foot forward. And been listening to a lot of commentary about who the next coach will be. So this is full audition style for these players. If you want to put your best foot forward and there's the possibility of
the best coach of the modern era coming in and taking over, you want him to have a good impression as he meets you for the first time. So they've got 3 weeks to prove themselves, and it starts right now.
Our pre-game show for Thirsty Camel Bottle Shops. Answer the Camel's call. Thirsty Camel Bottle Shops and Beaumont Tiles, 25k advertising giveaway. Go to iCanWin.com.au. We look very, very sophisticated when we roll into the box with our Samsonite luggage.
Oh, yeah.
When we travel, unpack the world with Samsonite. Visit samsonite.com.au. When we take calls, it's always for Star 21, 2021 Telstra Enterprise Partner of the Year. So the teams right now are doing their warm-ups for Ream. Ask your plumber to install the Ream steady, hot and strong. Under the roof today. So the Kubota cast, null and void, but we always appreciate their support. Kubota, together we are shaping and building Australia. No weather to speak of under the roof at Marvel today. Kubota shaping and building Australia. Can I ask both of you, so when you're a North Melbourne player at the moment, only having won 2 games for the year, one of your better performances this season was when you were 14 points up early in the last quarter against the Swans back in round 4. They kicked the last 4 goals of the game and go on to win by 11 points. But you've just seen those 1996 Premiership players out. You've got 2 sons of those players in the team. Jackson Archer, of course, he's not playing actually today. But you've got 2 of the sons of those greats within your 4 walls. Yep. Jackson Archer, of course, Glenn Archer's son, who was the Norm Smith medalist on that day. But Bailey Scott is out there. His father just made life member of North Melbourne. How do you use this? Do you try and tap in to that before the game to find something?
I think you can try. My fear today is and Dale, you've played in really strong teams, often at this point in the season. So Sydney are thinking, the ladder's not really in their thoughts. What they're thinking is we've got to get our game humming and crisp, and this is a great opportunity under the roof. You play a lot of games where it's wet and windy and slippery at this time of the year against the side who you don't know what they're going to dish up. So my fear is Sydney are going to be here to play, and the Kangas, who have shown that they aren't always here to play, things could get ugly because this is a potent young side with the Sydney Swans.
I think it would be something that Patch Adams would mention pre-game about the history of this football club and going back 26-odd years about what that group of players that were just on the ground achieved. I don't know if it has a huge effect.
Yep.
And it'd be actually an indictment and a little bit of a question mark about why that is a trigger, if it was to happen, for example, Sam, why that is a trigger for you to perform better. But I agree with JJ. You're looking at the other end of the ground, and I sit here right now and I'm pretty comfortable. I know what I'm going to see and what I'm going to get from the Sydney Swans. The question mark is on the Kangas. Can they turn up? Can they apply enough pressure, absorb enough pressure to stay in this contest?
Job made even harder now by the fact that Ben Mackay is a late out with injury for this game. You guys broke that before on Crunch Time. JJ, he is suffering from...
shoulder injury, yes.
So he had an AC concern a couple of weeks ago. They got him through last week. So it's one of those niggly things that you don't get a lot of sympathy for with an AC joint, but they often need to be jabbed, meaning to put a local into it to get through. But it had been a little bit grisly throughout the week, and they didn't bother playing.
Josh Walker comes in, and you'd think that he would get the job on Buddy Franklin, who's kicked 41 goals for the year, averaging just under 2.5 a game. So he is still one of the very best key forwards in the competition.
Make no mistake.
If he had played every game this year at that average, then he's 5th on the Coleman table.
Yeah.
So still an out-and-out threat is Buddy Franklin. And Isaac Heaney, have we let this slip past our guard how good a season Isaac Heaney's come? There's always a conversation over the last few years about whether he and Petrarca taken in the same draft. You know, when will they step up to become the superstars we all know? Petrarca got there probably 1 or 2 years ago, and now he's an out-and-out A-grader, one of the best in the comp, Del. Isaac Heaney, he surely now has to be in that category. 40 goals for the year. He goes into the middle at crucial times.
I must admit, I fluctuate with my opinion on Isaac Heaney.
So do I.
Sometimes I love him and think this guy's the best player in the competition. 2 weeks later, a month later, I'm like, this guy might be a touch overrated. But I like to be more glass half full. I think the way that he plays, but the flexibility within his game is a skill set that few others have in the competition. And just touching on Buddy Franklin with his ability to kick goals, they go inside forward 50 about 56 times a week, the Sydney Swans. 50 of them go to Bud. So you should be kicking 2.5 a week when you've got 50 opportunities.
Fair enough. So another really, really positive story today, a beautiful story, is the fact that Ben Cunnington, former teammate of yours, Del, is making his return to footy in the VFL. At the moment, the Swans lead that clash in the third quarter by 25 points.
However, Josh Kennedy's, I just saw the vision, has done a hamstring in that VFL game for the Swans.
That's gut-wrenching.
It didn't look a great one. He was sprinting, diving to the ground. So
unmissable moment was the pre-game for Drinkwise. Choose to Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you Drinkwise. Not our pre-game, but what the North did honouring the 1996 flag. So Sydney are powering the commentary team for the upcoming game. The ground looks in magnificent order for climate and Dakin keeping warm this winter. Who wins and why? Our experts, Buy My Stock, got excess stock. Visit buymystock.com.au. Del, quickly to you.
The Sydney Swans win because they are a better team and they're going to execute for 2 hours.
I think they'll win. They could win by plenty, unfortunately.
Jed Anderson starting out of the goal square as well for the Kangas.
Our pre-game show was for Thirsty Camel Bottle Shops and Beaumont Tiles, and the opening bounce is for Tyre Power. Your tyre safety experts week in, week out. Simpkin has been a week in, week out player, especially after the bye this season. Gets the first clearance for North Melbourne. Goes straight down the throat of Blakey, whose father was out there with the 1996 Premiership team. So many connections to that centenary Premiership that the Swans looked to mount something off half-back, and that was a little sloppy from Tom McCartan, looking to spread out the left half-back to Mills. Put it about 5 metres in front of him. It was gobbled up by the boundary line, so we'll have it thrown in.
That was a training drill out of the centre square bounce for the Kangas. That was delightful. Goldstein down to his rover, one handball, go forward.
Goldstein got a little palm to it and then fell on top of a ball, and the heat came from Warner. And bodies pile in. So going nowhere and to be tossed up at left half-back. So the Swans going to the Docklands end, your left radio speaker, North Melbourne to the city end. Hickey tried to come through and take it with him. Davies Uniacke did take it and was taken by Parker.
Cole's got the responsibility on Buddy Franklin. Walker's coming up the ground a little bit and going to play on Reed.
Foraging, Greenwood just tried to slice it on the outside of the left, was slung off the kick and it was partially smothered. Lazaro came through, running away from goal, fed it back to Goldstein. Inboard handball was good to Simpkin. McDonald came through. He was dragged off his kick. Anderson hit it at pace, 25 out. Curtis, they got a little collar on him. Quick little give Larkey in a hurry. Pushed it wide, out of bounds on the full to the right-hand side from directly in front. There was a lot of bodies around Larkey as he was bundled off that. So still no score on the scoreboard for Tyre Power. Tyre safety experts week in, week out. Ball spending the opening stanza inside the front half for North Melbourne. Now they'll mount something. Far side of the ground, McInerney. On the run, Clark gets the handball from Haywood. One-on-one, Heaney, so good in the air. Couldn't bring it to ground under pressure from Young. The support arrives from Papley, and he is wrapped up in a strong tackle holding the ball. McDonald got him. In fact, Young.
Big eyes, that Heaney. It was a great look. He jumped up off that right leg as he loves to do, and dirty, he didn't take that one. But if they get looks like that, Sydney, too often, they'll be scoring freely.
Young drives the Roos out of defence. It goes past everyone, including Zerha and Fox. Back of the pack, the crumbs collected and then launched by Tom McCartan to right half forward. Again, Heaney got two hands to it but couldn't complete the mark. Shoveled up off the ground, going away from goal by Simpkin. Hemmed in at left half back is Stevenson. Luke Davies-Uniacke, they're working in a phone box at the moment. Swans overcommitted on the tackle. McDonald a little nonchalant. Paddy McCartan got a hand on that. At right half forward, the ball is in dispute. Lovely little evasive sidestep from Luke Davies-Uniacke. Needle threaded the Taylor, put on a handbrake, and they all flew right past. Maverick and Goose style. Aerially, he tried to kick it to the top line of the centre square, hoping for a Larky mark, and got a Hickey one instead. So 3 minutes played. Makita ruled the outdoors clock. No score yet on the scoreboard for Tyre Power, and for Macca's catch a quarter pounder range at Macca's today. Fox called to play on. Keeps it low and flat. Franklin two hands to it. It was spoiled in the end by Core. Clark a tumbler. Heaney going with the flights. Dropped his third mark. Recovered at ground level. Missed Papley by hand. Walker shovels a handball out into the hot spot. That was dangerous. Rowbottom collects. Buddy's so clever. Gave it to Blakey. Blakey didn't wait to see if the umpire paid the mark. Put the foot down, accelerated to goal. Fired from 40 and missed to the left-hand side.
Well, if I'm Isaac Heaney, I'm calling a trainer over right now and saying, Grippo, please. My mitts aren't working.
You're going to put it on his belly as well. That one landed right in the breadbasket.
But he has got himself to a good position to attack the football, Josh.
Yeah, you can already see a bit of a difference in just the crispness that the Swans can flick the ball around with.
Zerha alone on the broadcast wing rises up to take the mark uncontested in the end. So the first score behind to Blakey.
Found out earlier today he's quite the chef. Has the boys over frequently.
Zerha, that's a great kick, leading to right half forward at the bottom right-hand point of the square was Anderson. Quickly plays on, backpedaling into the right forward pocket was Larkey. Desperate defence from Tom McCartan to get a fist on it. Bailey Scott taken in a strong tackle by Paddy McCartan. And also Dane Rampy.
Outrageously good defence from Tom McCartan. He was in the worst position possible, running back. Nick Larkey had the prime spot. It was a nice kick over the back and was able to jump, turn, get at the foot. He almost took the intercept mark. That was spectacular stuff from the big defender.
Paddy McCartan won the free kick for that tackle. Now to Rampy. Good rise from Haywood, who's got strong hands. Kane Corn's a very big fan of what he brings to the table. Speaks him up every chance he gets. Just sticks it inboard. Outside defensive 50 is Rowbottom. Rowbottom gets good penetration down the broadcast wing. Should have been frontal contact against McDonald on Papley, and it was just a little late to call. So they'll go inside forward 50 here with this kick from Papley. Buddy provides a good lead, and just a little slow Papley, and Buddy's going to make Greenwood earn it.
Not a great kick, but the Kangaroos just don't show a lot of intent to get back. There was 4v4 inside the Swans forward 50 there, and Greenwood was the only one getting back.
Stevenson just got through the Haywood tackle. Hemmed in on the boundary. Curtis takes the mark.
Did that well in the end, Stevenson. Got himself caught in a bit of a sticky situation with that agility. Gets out of it.
Had a good year. It's Curtis. Oh, Anderson gets a great ride. Luke Perry, 8 seconds. Over Lloyd. Quick dish off. Scott on the burst. Little low dinking kick to Lazaro outside the arc of 50. Zurha, the target, has 2 to beat. Couldn't in the end. Goulden made sure of it. And Tom McCart was there in support. But Anderson, that is a great sit. Maybe I've overcooked it a little.
No, it was good.
On replay.
No, it was good.
Slightly less impressive.
He did get on the, you're right, he got on the shoulder, Sam, but by the time he took it, he was back on the ground.
He was. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Swan's going to get out of the fence again. Goulden, little do-si-do work on Scott was good. Warner's had a brilliant season. Charges through and gets away from Simpkin. Oh, just a little rushed on the kick and gave it straight to McDonald. Defensive side of the broadcast wing.
That's better. Good system from the Roos. I was set up for that. McDonald played the percentages and got the intercept mark.
Oh, how's that not 50? Haywood's come up to the mark and then been feigned and moved off the mark, and they said, oh, that's okay, we'll just keep playing.
Stevenson at centre half back had 34 disposals last week. He comes to the bottom edge of the square. Lazaro dropped the mark, had time to recover. The one-on-one at right half forward to Zurha. Important fist from Rampy, who's made a career of that. And it gets gobbled up halfway between centre wing and right half forward, so a boundary throw in. And that is all for snap.
That's a good matchup. That's a good matchup. Zurha's going to stay up around this stoppage, but Rampy's taking care of him inside 50. That is a seriously good matchup.
Hickey making it uncomfortable for Goldstein. Simpkin was at the fall of the ball and got body heat quickly. Jammed out a little handball, but they turn it over. Warner slices through traffic. Kicks to a 2-on-2 at centre half forward. Backpedaling Haywood. There's those mitts. Just read it better in flight than Stevenson and took the mark about 43 out directly in front.
So a little learning point now for the Kangas defenders. They are extremely proactive, meaning they're standing in front of their direct opponent. That's the 3rd or 4th time that the Swans have got goal side of their direct opponent running into space, and that's the first time they've been caught out. We spoke about Heaney. He's missed 2 that were exactly the same.
And the other element is the midfield. Get some pressure on them. He can't allow Warner to walk out of stoppage and kick the ball over the top. 3rd
highest goal kicker for the Swans this year is Haywood from 50.5 metres. He pushes it left. And it's just a minor score. So 2 behinds to start off this game. We played almost 8 minutes. North Melbourne yet to score despite having the ball more predominantly in their forward half.
You raise a good point, JJ. It's the chicken or the egg. Are you asking your midfield to put better pressure on so your defence can stand somewhere different? Or are you accepting that your midfield can't do their job, so you have to adjust your defence?
Simpkin, good mark from the kick in. Fires a long handball to the bottom left-hand corner of the square. Larkey arcs around. Stevenson ran straight into Haywood. Stuck the tackle, rewarded for it. Goulden took the advantage, pokes it forward to left half forward. Parker thinks about the entry and then squares it up. Oh, that is clever from Mills. Took the mark and handballed it in midair to one of their best users in Goulden. Nonchalant on the left. It was effortless as it splits the middle for their first from 45 on a 45.
He can kick the footy, Errol Goulden. He's one of a heap that they've got, and that's why they are an exciting team to watch, because they can seriously kick the footy. I was just watching Buddy charge back toward goal, and Luke McDonald did a great job. He blocked him and looked like a head clash. Buddy went down, but he's walking back inside 50 to take his position. I think both players are okay. It was a strong collision.
Aiden Cause come from the ground with the blood rule. Just a little bit of a nick to the corner of the left eye.
Boundary update for Snaffle by now with bite-sized payments. Huge win. So the first 1-2-8 are Sydney. North Melbourne yet to score for Tyre Power, tyre safety experts week in, week out. And that is all on the Robot Building Supplies scoreboard. Robot's got it.
So Jaden Stevenson gets caught holding the ball, trying to take the game on. Don't go away from that. Keep attacking when it's your turn.
Coleman Jones into the ruck, he decisively palmed it down in front. Mills going nowhere. Squeezed a little handball out to Parker, who just latched onto a hurried kick that wobbles inside forward 50. Heaney no mark again, but a little topo gains him 15 metres. Clever Mcdonald came away from goal. Quick little dish to Haywood. Was as slick as you'll see. Off balance. So too was the kick, but it didn't matter. The snap on a 45 angle from 35 is good for their second in about 30 seconds.
Wow, outstanding hands from the big young key forward, Logan Mcdonald, charging out of the goal square. He was set up deep as the forward. The ball just bobbled around. It always lands in that spot, 40 to 60 from goal from centre bounce as he come up, met the footy. Really swift right-hand handball out to Will Haywood, and he was very happy with that snap, and as he should be, because it was outstanding.
27 goals for the year. Safety still shed stats for Haywood. Our experts, Josh Jenkins, Nick Dalsano. You buy my sock, stock.com.au. Buy my sock would be something completely different.
It's had a good start to the game as Haywood. Ball disposals gets on the scoreboard. Safety still shed numbers.
Kangan Institute 1-3 tape around the ground. Swans by 23 points in the VFL against North Melbourne at Arden Street. Into the fourth quarter there. Luke Davies-Uniacke had a brilliant season, averaging 28 disposals since the bye. He charges to centre-half forward as he gets the clearance to the top of the square. Larky juggled it, read it a little better. Tom McCartan just over-committed to get to the front of the contest. And Larky held it on the second bite, and he's only about 7 metres out on a 45 angle.
That's what they can do. That's what they can do, the Roos. We've seen them do this out of the CBs a lot. Davies-Uniacke and Simpkin was big last week, and I'm a big fan of Nick Larky. I think he's got one of the hardest jobs in footy, playing one out, or almost one out in that 450.
Larky, a little skippy on the approach. He just stabbed at it, but he guides it through for North Melbourne's first. One straight 6 now, North. They trail by 8 points. Sydney at 2-2-14. It's on the scoreboard for Robot Building Supplies. Robot's got it.
And this is the evolution of Luke Davies-Uniacke's game. The ability to burst away out of a contest. You speak about his numbers post the bye. He's been a work in progress. There's been a handful of North Melbourne supporters that have questioned, said, is he really worth a top-end pick? But we're now starting to see where his game's at. The strength and the confidence to come out the front of that centre square bounce gives you forward's best opportunity one-on-one. Larky gets on the end of it.
So Sydney started running hot for Ream with the first 2 goals. Husky Plummer to install the Ream steady, hot and strong. North just stemmed the flow ever so slightly. We've played just over 12 minutes. Makita Rulli outdoors clock. Reid now into the ruck. Call it a break even with Coleman Jones, who found it at ground level, jammed it onto the right boot, tumbles it to 40 out, colliding in the end. A couple of Swans defenders, which opens the door for Larky, who had a chokehold applied to him that would have made any UFC combatant proud by Rampy. He almost had to tap.
Got a little lucky Larky there. Tom McCartan just read the ball quicker and went over to support his Swans defender, and there was just a deflection. The ball dribbled along the ground. Larky was first on it. So luck plays a big part in this game, boys. And Nick Larky got the luck.
So for their second in about 30 seconds, Larky from directly in front. The fist pump was up from the moment the ball left the boot. He's got 2, so do North Melbourne, and the Swans, though, have a 2-point lead for Robot Building Supplies. The Robot's got it, 13 played first turn.
It's such a simplistic kicking style, just specifically on the execution of a drop punt, kicking for goal. Nick Larky does it as good as anybody in the competition. A little bit clumsy from Dave Rampy. A little bit clumsy because he didn't have to even jump on the back of Larky or get him in a...
There was a bit going on, wasn't
in a headlock from him that competes and holds himself very well.
The replay for Easy Debit. Join Easy Debit today. He got him high initially, then sat on his back.
And then he thought, hey, while I'm here, my favourite matchup of the day is actually between the runners. It's Brett Kirk versus Boomer Harvey. Two guys that would have spent a lot of time next to each other. But that's my key matchup for today.
Worth the price of admission in and of itself.
2 of the greats.
Yes. So, umpire just sucking in the deep ones. That's a good bounce too. Reid won it down decisively to his left, bottom of the circles. Papley went to fend a human that wasn't there. Then got Greenwood, who then got him, holding the ball. Quickly Davies-Uniacke. Oh, that's just skidded off the instep. Lloyd went hard at it. Deft touch from Curtis coming out of the forward 50. Papley pounces on a loose pill. to Rampy now. 45 out from defensive goal. He loops a long handball to left half back where Lloyd can hit up the lead of Warner coming with the flight.
This
the
guy's
interchange wing.
He's a smart midfielder. Warner, as soon as he sees that ball's getting won back by the Swans, he's off. He's finding an exit.
He's second at the club for score involvements, just behind Papley, but he's in the top 10. He's in the top 10 for goal assists as well. He's having such a good year, Warner.
Yeah.
8th in the comp for inside 50 safety still shed stats.
Yeah. And easily the best player in the comp with tips.
There you go. Big call from Nick D'Alessano on AFL Nation. Rowbottom got a handball from Paddy McCartan.
Thankfully, it's not a large group.
A left foot snap to Stevens, who just couldn't reel it in before the boundary did in front of the Swans interchange. So we'll have it thrown in. The Snaffle, bite-sized payments win.
Stevens is one I'm keen to have a look at today. Haven't seen a lot of him. Did some work with him in the SA under-18s. It's taken him a long time. He was a top 5 draft pick, so hopefully he can have a good game and really start to cement a position in this Swans lineup.
On the throw-in, it was allowed to bounce. Goldstein palmed it back towards the bottom edge of the square. Swans have got numbers. The Parker kick was well smothered by Greenwood. Found its way, though, to McInerney, who puts an elevated kick directly in the middle of the bottom line of the square. Coming through, Florent. Buddy had it for a long time. Papley was where you want your crummers to be.
Oh,
that is elite. And the celebration matches, as always, maybe even outshines the goal itself. Crummage work at an elite level from Tom Papley, who came from half-back with the flight of that footy to be at the feet of Franklin when he needed to be. Gee, that's unlucky for Buddy on the replay, maybe not to get a free kick for the arm chop from Core, but the craft from Papley.
Yeah, they look dangerous, the Swans. Anytime they can get some space in that front half, it's almost 6 Swans forwards who all think, I'm the one today, they're all thinking, oh, I've got a pretty good match up here, boys. You might want to give me a bit of space. I think Tom Papley's season has really evolved and uplifted with the more midfield time that he's had. As in that small forward role, it can be hard work, can be a grind, and they're allowing him to get up the ground and get 20 touches and be more involved, and good things happen for the Swannies.
Goal of the game contender for Host Plus, that's a plus. Mills will take Sydney out of the middle, snaps it to 45. Buddy came hard but didn't kill the contest. Papley again, front and square. Crumbs were there. Finish wasn't to the left-hand side from 45.
He's annoyed.
He's
annoyed because he had more time than that.
Yeah, and Logan Mcdonald's going to have a really difficult job today in regards to balance, because he does get his hands on the football, uses it relatively well, but he's got to be so accountable and so aware of Papley.
He's kicked 21-22 for the year, Papley. Safety still shed stats. Coming out of defence, Zerha was the target, went over his head. Rowbottom found a difficult ground ball and got it back to Mills. Off a standing start, Core came out and let it bounce off his chest. Maybe that was a high one that could have gone to McDonald, and it will. Buddy the infringer.
Papley's still my favourite celebrator in the competition.
All-Australian last year, and I'm told that the celebrations played a part. No, I wasn't told that at all. That's just ridiculous.
It's
but
like just acknowledging, hey, it was me that kicked the goal.
He's great to watch.
You'll see me.
More of that. Love the personality. Anderson at left half back. Guides it nicely to a tumbling Horn Francis. So he's about 85 from his defensive goal, a couple of metres in from the boundary. So he's just going to arc around and dump it down the line. The pack will form. Goldstein did well, worked right underneath it. Coleman Jones might have spoiled him in the air. In the end, Fox coming away from Sydney's goal. Couldn't quite collect and coughed it up to Zeeble. Powell was fighting hard at ground level for it. So too Hayward was dragged off by Greenwood. Toe poke from Coleman Jones gets north inside 50. It's short-lived though. Lloyd fed it back by hand to centre half back inside the centre square, and taken to ground was Powell by Mills.
Opportunity for the Kangas when they're held up along the half-back line. The switch is on. Swans lining up down the line. Extra numbers can go around them at the right time.
Goldstein slapped it towards goal. It was gathered by Parker and given up to Rowbottom. His kick smothered. So too was that of Anderson coming through. The smother was by Reid. Ball's jammed out and squeezed out to left half forward for North Melbourne. Horn Francis taken, maybe without the footy. Callan Zerha scrapping for it. Fox in there as well. Plenty of players around the pill. The umpire hugs himself and says, I'll toss it up. So ticking up the 19 minutes, Makita rule the outdoors clock. And it is an 8-point Sydney lead for Robot Building Supplies. Reid won it down. Anderson with strength just bards his way through the congestion. Hurry kick onto the left boot. Coleman Jones came out and killed the contest. The two 11s can collide, and It's slapped forward for Sydney by Papley into the centre circles. Hall gathers, almost gave it up. Hayward rising up, slapped it away from Goldstein. Goldstein put on a handbrake and slipped over but was held.
It's going to have to come back.
The advantage won't be paid and Young was off.
Well, they had the advantage and they said no thanks, and then they wanted it when they realised they were out.
Goldstein just pokes it out wide. Walker. Josh Walker, the late inclusion. Ben Mackay. To Lizard Blakey got a nice sit over Zeeble and a strong fist at left half forward. The ball goes out of play. Swans just by 17 now, taking up to 20 minutes around the grounds for Kangan Institute, 1-3 TAFE at Arden Street in the VFL. Ball spins back into play. Reid tried to take it with two hands. Powell was dragged off as he went to toe poke it. Coleman Jones just hurries it. A kick that was ricocheting off the feet of Greenwood, and then front and square from Taylor. Just couldn't get full purchase on the kick, and it goes to the top of the square. I reckon Goldstein might have been lucky not to have been pinged for holding the ball. Little double-handed drop in close quarters at the top of the square. Cannoned off the boot of a Swans defender from Zerha, and the Swans will be able to clear and get out of defensive 50 as the ball goes out of play at right half, back for the Swans.
Been up for the fight. The Kangas have been good around the ball, been able to generate a few opportunities. They haven't seen anything as clean as what Sydney have generated, and the Swans have probably left a couple on the table, but I said I wanted to see them really up for the fight in the first 20, and that they are.
Zerha came through at the front of the restart and couldn't take the ball with him. Rowbottom scrounges a hurry kick out of the contest. It went to Franklin, who took it down low. He's got options in the middle. One of those is Papley in the bullseye. He's going to spread to the broadcast wing. Goulden being corralled by Taylor. Goulden just hangs that kick a little too far out in front of McDonald, who couldn't make up the territory. Bounces in front of him and out of play in the left forward pocket for the Swans. About 40 metres around from the left goal post.
So the Swans are playing a slingshot style of football. They're getting their numbers to the half-back line, keeping a couple forward of the football. And as soon as they win it, they're getting the space, switching the football to the near side and having clean entries into their forward 50.
20 plays 12 in favour of the Swans. Hickey slapped it forward towards the boundary. Papley couldn't take it with him. Rowbottom taken the ground by Taylor in a good tackle. All tunnel balls out behind him. Heaney was dragged down by two North Melbourne players. Anderson just wanted a little more and went a little harder. 5 metres directly in front of Sydney's goal. Anderson goes in again. Buddy might have gotten his back. Umpire saw it the same way. Anderson, too desperate. Attacks at the footy. Comes up with the free kick, and he's got options in the left back pocket. Simpkins made some territory to be an option out wide. He goes to Hall, 25 metres up the ground. Hall along the top line of the square. Hitting back brilliantly with Stevens to get a hand on it in front of Curtis. Swans win it back.
They just didn't... North Melbourne aren't transitioning and aren't getting out of their D50 when they've got the ball.
Papley inside forward 50. Coleman Jones stood in a hole, had it slapped away from him. Rowbottom coming at goal. Couldn't get full purchase as he went to kick it off the ground. Walker, anxious moments here as he collects and is collected.
So just to explain that a bit more, so they didn't. It was 4v4 earlier in the Swans forward line, and North Melbourne didn't transition back to help. Aaron Hall therefore then goes for a kick back inside. They just haven't got enough bodies around the ball at the moment.
Rowbottom the fend and fight a handball towards goal. Was sharked by Young, who's hurried right foot kick, slews off the outside of the right boot. Unkind bounce for Goulden, who saw the same fate suffered by Greenwood. He was able to find it and then find Tom McCartan. They've come all the way back to centre wing. Paddy McCartan, it's just a handball in hope over his head, 20 metres from Goulden at left half forward. Warner couldn't gather. Dawson can coming away, and he drives him down the broadcast wing line. No mark, Tom McCartan going back with the fly. Curtis, a robust tackle. Applied on Lloyd, and we'll have it tossed up, attacking side of the near wing for North.
You raise a good point, JJ. It's that balance between when it's time to go really fast for the Kangas and when it's time just to slow the play down. Aaron Hall got the wrong way around that previous one.
Florent, that was a sublime sidestep around Lazaro. Got a little push as he kicked the ball. Bottom left-hand point of the square, Stevenson, good collect, and another brilliant sidestep from LDU to buy himself some space and time, but the kick went straight to Hickey, who gave it to Parker in space. One-on-one inside forward, 50. Hall did well to out-body Hickey and took the mark. Not always known for his, I suppose, hardness in a contest. That kick, though, has done no favours to McDonald, who's had to take it on the bounce, slap it back towards goal. Heaney now tackling Hall in the goal square. Hall's got a conceder behind, and that is as calamitous as it gets. You give Hall that big rap, and he missed McDonald by foot, and they now have to concede it behind.
He nailed the part that he's usually not good at, and then fluffed the part he usually is.
And now he turns it over, coming out of defensive goal square, gave a gift, an absolute gift to Florent, and he just puts it inboard, just decreasing the distance to goal, and finds Clark 40 out directly in front.
Now, you were the silk man with the ball in hand, Nick Del Santo.
Skillful.
Did you? I used to feel like I had days where it's like golf. I'm not hitting them that sweet today, and you got to quickly be aware of those days.
Well, I don't think Aaron Hall's got any other gears. He's going to be one of those players who's going to keep on trying to bite off the most difficult option on the ground.
So Clark to make them pay on the runway. That's fading to the left, and he's not able to extract the ultimate salt in wound.
Did you have those
application.
days, or did you just slice and dice?
No, they were definitely there. There was a few missed along the way. I'm just watching Aaron Hall. He's had a really good season, and a lot of those kicks do come off. But at this stage of the game, he's trying to bite off so much. Another turnover, half back for the Kangas.
Yeah, Reid did so well to get back and almost got a hand on it and just disrupted the eye line of Walker. And then Reid applies the tackle and Walker's ping. They don't get back and help defensively. They do now, North Melbourne. Clark was missed by foot. Scott made sure. Handball to the core, and Buddy dumps him over the line. They are just being pressured into mistake after mistake at the moment, North Melbourne.
So if you're Aaron Hall,
by 10 points.
If you're Aaron Hall or anybody now, you're under pressure. The ball's been locked in your back half. It's about getting a contest outside of 50 and resetting. It's not about lacing the perfect kick through the middle of the ground.
Goldstein won it down. Heaney was there to gather. Too much time, too much space. The left foot snap in the right forward pocket from 30. It just drifts across the face and a minor score. Heaney threatening.
Yeah, he is. Tough shot for goal from Heaney on the left foot, 35 metres out. But I reckon I watched him take 50 snaps for goal, deliberately practising his snaps on both sides of the body, and you understand why he can kick them when they matter.
There's 2 minutes to play in the quarter. Makita Rulli outdoors clock. It's now an 11-point Sydney lead, but you feel like the floodgates might be about to open. They've kicked 3-5 to 2 straight. And they've found their way up to the broadcast wing, North Melbourne, but under immense pressure again. Luke Davies-Uniacke goes back in, tried to win a hard ball and overran it. The handball from McInerney came off the foot of Davies-Uniacke. Anderson feeds it to McDonald, gets it back off a standing start. He drives them down the broadcast wing line. Rampy held out Curtis. Got to rise up to try and slap a bouncing ball back. Missed completely, but didn't miss the tackle on Curtis on the follow-up. Now just sitting over the footy. Who's got it, Curtis or Parker? Umpire can't decide who's hatching it. He crosses arms and says, I'll throw it up just behind right half forward for North. So Gould and Hayward Papley have got Sydney's 3. Larky's got both of North Melbourne's. Parker was at the front of the toss to her, at the front of the ball up. Kicked it out of bounds on the full from a standing start in a hurry. Dawson will bring North Melbourne back into play, centre wing.
Kangas hanging tough. A couple of minutes to play. Can't give away another goal, but from what we asked from them pre-game about competing, they are competing. The execution's been poor.
Tried to be really clever with the kick. Simpkin was the leading target. Papley was hit to the scene and chopped it off. Stevenson returns the favour though, because he wanted Corridor and he wanted Heaney, and Stevenson read it beautifully. Chain of handballs ends up with Stevenson. Got to kick in a hurry along the broadcast wing because McInerney was bearing down. No Mark Larky, it's in half forward. Heaney spins out of the Larky tackle. Fired a handball back to the arc of 50 for Tom McCartan, who was taken high by Curtis.
The Swans are a little bit off as well. Heaney's dropped a few marks. They've tried to bite off a fair bit, so they're a little bit off as well.
Lakey on the burst. Franklin 1 by 2, falling over. Papley took it out of his hands as he was falling to ground. The umpire said, "You've held it long enough, bud."
Jack Rewalt
have the free kick 49 metres out directly in front. Yes, it was.
Tom Papley reminds me of the sort of person at a party, you put your drink down, you turn around, he's taking it.
You reckon he might have brought a six-pack of
Trust's very own
little sneaky thief.
You reckon
He's one of ours, guys.
He might have bought a six-pack of lights, but then ends up drinking the craft beers that someone else brought to you. I won't have it.
One of our very
Brings
own.
the cans, goes home with a bottle.
Dow, he's one of our very own.
Oh, we like him. It's a compliment. Little thief.
So Bud at centre half forward from 55 to the line, and why would you doubt him? Why would you ever doubt him?
Oh, hang on. You might doubt him.
We're just going to have a look.
We've got one, Sammy.
Score review for roofing and sheet metal centre. Everything sheet metal from the roof down.
We had 5 of these last week. That's a goal.
Yep. Goldstein was right there, but credit McDonald, who just got enough body so Goldstein couldn't reach it before it went over the line on the replay.
Now, I hate to do this, goal officially, I hate to do this to the score review, the ARC system, but last week we had 5. We had one, I still haven't got to the bottom of it. It trickled along the ground and hit the behind post, and they checked to see whether it went through the points or whether it went through...
But it still hit the post.
That's right. I don't think anyone actually realised that if it hit the behind post, it's
still
a throw in.
I had an unusual one last week, Brisbane versus Richmond. There was a free kick paid for pushing on the line.
Oh, that was... Yeah,
Yet the umpire said, I want to know if it went through.
Apparently he just
it was
got his
called a
ends
goal,
mixed
and he said, but I'm paying a free
There
kick.
was
I
a
said, you've wasted my
clarification,
time.
Dale. There was a clarification. Apparently he just got his ends mixed up of who was going what way.
Okay, right.
Just had a moment.
Doesn't make
we
it
all
right.
have them.
No, we all
I'll have
absolutely
about 17 before this game's done. 17-point Sydney lead, 4 seconds to play in the first quarter. Robot Building Supplies, Robot's got it. Thank you, sir. Go Goldie's the call, and he does win this one and almost found it at ground level again as a siren sounds. So, quarter time at Marvel Stadium, North Melbourne, 2 straight 12. Sydney looking dangerous, albeit not as clean and as concise as they would like to be. 4-5-29, so a 17-point Swans lead for Robot Building Supplies on AFL Nation for Type Out and for Maccas. Sam Hargraves, Josh Jenkins, Nick Del Santo on your Sunday afternoon.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Robot Building Supplies. Robot's got it.
We buy stock that you can't move. BuyMyStock.com.au.
If your business has stock that you just can't move, you need BuyMyStock.com.au. They're stock clearing experts and can turn your unwanted stock into cash. Big or small, they'll clear it all. Make your unwanted stock problems go away. Visit BuyMyStock.com.au today. BuyMyStock.com.au.
We buy stock that you can't move. BuyMyStock.com.au.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland 11 stores open 7 days until midnight in Melbourne and Geelong, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
Take me now, I come in. Take me now, Sexyland.
Sometimes needing new tyres can catch us by surprise. That's why Tyre Power gives you the power of Zip Pay and Zip Money. It means you can get what you need now, get back on the road safely and pay for it later, taking advantage of the interest-free periods. So if you need new tyres or mechanical repairs, don't wait till it gets worse. Get them now with Zip Pay or Zip Money at Tyre Power. No fuss, no wait, no worries. Terms and conditions apply. So visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner operator.
Hey, Nick Del Santo here. I played over 300 games in the AFL, but I still remember my first game as a rookie. Back then, I needed all the advice I could get. So, if you're after an apprenticeship and need the same kind of expert help, don't go past MEGT. MEGT is Australia's largest and only national apprenticeship network provider, making them your true local apprenticeship experts. With MEGT, a winning career could be yours. So check out their free job board today. Visit MEGT.com.au or call 13MEGT.
Shawl Unify. National experts in workwear and uniforms. Shawl Unify. For construction and healthcare. Shawl Unify. For government, corporate and hospitality. Shawl Unify. For retailers, transport and logistics. Shawl Unify is an Australian company and your national B2B uniform and workwear expert with over 30 years experience in corporate uniforms and workwear. A better way to manage your uniforms and workwear. Unify your team at shawlunify.com.
Still hunting around for incredible value? Ditch the magnifying glass and check out the Kogan Money credit card. There's no annual fee, plenty of tantalising rewards, and if you meet the spend requirements, you could earn $400 in credit to spend on Kogan.com. So go on and make the switch to a great value credit card at koganmoney.com.au/radio.
Offer ends August 21. T's and C's, credit criteria, other fees and charges apply. Credit provider National Australia Bank Limited.
Serious outdoor work requires serious outdoor tools. And this season, Makita is helping you rule the outdoors with the world's largest 18-volt LXT range and the revolutionary XGT 40-volt Max. Makita's Power Garden range will help you take control of your lawn without the need for messy fuel. Tame your hedges with less noise. Cut hardwood down to size with more power. Now with a 5-year limited warranty on new cordless products. Makita, rule the outdoors.
Campbell Brown here with Andrew Shea, the CEO of Builders Academy. For those already experienced, what can Builders Academy offer?
Thanks, Brownie. If you have a number of years' experience in the building and construction industry, we can help you via a process called recognition of prior learning. We gather evidence of your knowledge, skills and experience and help you pathway towards gaining a nationally recognised qualification.
Thanks, Andrew. Get in touch with Builders Academy on 1300 Legend.
RTO 21583.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Took the advantage, pokes it forward to left half forward. Parker thinks about the entry and then squares it up. Oh, that is clever from Mills. Took the mark and handballed it in midair to one of their best users in Goulden. Nonchalant on the left. It was effortless as it splits the middle for their first from 45 on a 45. Larky, little skippy on the approach. Just stabbed at it, but he guides it through for North Melbourne's first.
Macca's, I'm loving it moments. Grab a creme brulee pie for just $1.50.
Second quarter about to start. AFL Nation for Icon Services, commercial cleaning and integrated property solutions. Those are the I'm loving it moments for Macca's. Catch a quarter pounder range meal at Macca's today. Sam Hargraves, Josh Jenkins, Nick Dalsano are here for buymystock.com.au. 17-point Sydney lead. Boys, your thoughts?
Well, I think the Kangas have actually competed really hard. The alarming stat from a Kangas perspective is the Swans have been inside forward 50 14 times for 9 scores. Now, fortunately for them, they're still relatively in the game because the Swans have kicked 4 goals, 5. Swans won't be like that for the whole game, so they need to get on their game right now. And the centre square bounce is where it started. Kangas been okay in that area.
Yeah, they've look, happy enough, but you can see that you can clearly see a difference in skill level and ability to look and be dangerous, and the Swans certainly are that.
Opening man to the second term for Tyre Power. Your match day favourites for tyre safety. There is a free kick in the middle that's going to Hickey, so the first clearance will go to the Swans. Hickey wastes no time, drives it to the lead of Reid, who had 2 to beat in the air, taking it out of mid-air. Front and square was Heaney. Parker took the handball from him and was taken in a strong Horne-Francis tackle. Dawson stands up in the Heaney and Clark tackle and will have it thrown up 47 metres out directly in front of the Swans' goal.
Good work rate by the Hornet to get back.
Hickey palmed it down. Hornet hits that man on cue, just tumbles it out to the far side of the ground where Florence there to collect. Tried to be too cute coming inboard, and Taylor's pressure was good. Smothered the ball, and then he falls on top of it though, Taylor, and he might be unlucky here. Yep. So did all the hard defensive work to stop the Florent kick. He's going to get it anyway. In fact, it's Fox who is the recipient of the free kick. Into Mines. That was a short little kick forward, and he's going to get it back on the burst. Top right-hand point of the square. The target was Mills, 35 out, couldn't take the mark, and Haywood couldn't take it with him towards goal. He goes back in and finds it, tried to drop a little handball over the top in the right forward pocket to Clark. He overran it. Mills didn't. Haywood kept going to goal. Haywood skids it through in front of the outstretched Goldstein hand from 15 metres on a 45 angle. They will check it. Goldstein claimed it.
And he's pretty confident because he's already running back to position for the kick out. So Goldie says, I got my 2 metre arm to it. Have a close look at this.
So the score review for roofing and sheet metal centre, everything sheet metal from the roof down. Yeah, I think he's got that.
Are you just saying that
what was the umpire's call?
I think he's called it a behind.
Yep.
Just saying that because his hands are that close to the ball, because
you can't. You're right. You can't.
Standard definition.
He does slap it down by the looks of it. It seems to change its trajectory.
Standard definition cameras in the goalpost. There's no way to check.
It's the analogue, isn't it?
I reckon they're using my old Nokia 3310.
We are using Commodore 64 technology when there is a PlayStation 5 option.
Whilst we've got a moment, and we'll get a result in a second, the way they use, the Kangaroos use Horne-Francis fascinates me, so it is a behind. Last week he was playing that offside high forward role, just so hard to get in the game, and he's only had the one disposal today for safety still sheds. Again, he's been playing a lot of that high half forward, the graveyard role, And in a side that's not playing, clean footy, geez, it must be hard work for the young man.
Core wraps around the back of the Hallmark at right half forward, and then he fires a handball to Davey Zuniak. Forward handball to Curtis, who handballed to a 2-on-1 at the feet of Coleman Jones. Couldn't have been in any worse predicament and had the ball put in any worse a place. Now it's in dispute. Swans are going to win it back on the far side. Tom McCartan, Heaney just threw it onto the left boot under the Curtis tackle and put it out of bounds on the full.
And they're fortunate to get away with that. They tried to play keepings off by a handball the length of the field. And on that Horn Francis, you raised a good point once again, JJ.
Thanks, Nick.
He's on ball as it currently stands. So let's keep a close eye on him while he is an inside midfielder.
Real positive vibe in the AFL Nation box. Complimentary. Little twist out of play, goes a couple of rows back on the far side wing.
It's a bit too fluffy at the moment. I might change that from the back row.
You're going to clip me?
From behind. Might have a bit of...
That's what he was known for when he's
about it. Might say it and run.
Ball thrown back in over the boundary. Zerha held by Fox. I would have thought without it, maybe Goldstein the same from Goulden. Umpire lets play go on. Fox good tackle. David Zuniak got the hands free to his fellow hyphen in Horn Francis. Going nowhere in a hurry in a tackle. Just backward to right half forward for the Swans, who kicked 4-5 in that first term. Goulden, Hayward, Papley and Franklin were the goal kickers. Larkey has North Melbourne's 2. David Zuniak tracking a ball that ran out of runway and real estate and goes out of play at right half forward again for the Swans. So we'll have it thrown back in for easy debit. No, for snaffle. Bite-sized payments win.
Jed Anderson up to 12 disposals for the Kangas, and Rowbottom's had 10 thanks to safety still sheds.
It's worked. Goldstein, it was a shallow throw in. Wanted a holding free kick. Hickey found it and skies it along the far side wing. Franklin camped underneath it. Core a good fist. Heaney's going to get to the footy before it goes out. Handballed it back to Goulden, steps past the Davey Zuniak pressure, fires the kick past the intended targeting Clark. Hall clever slap to Stevenson, who was riding shotgun with him. Stevenson able to slice through a couple of would-be tacklers. Core tried to drop it over the top for Scott. Core's going to get it back. Core tried to run away. Hemmed in on the boundary, fires it down the line. They all overcommit in the air. Out the back, Curtis was away if he was able to take the ball with him. Agonisingly close to the outstretched fingertips, and then the gang tackle applied by Florent and Goulden on Taylor, and Florent is rewarded.
I've loved what I've seen, the first half a dozen handful of games from Paul Curtis. He's played for high free kicks a fair bit. Just get that out of the road, mate. You're too good to be worrying about that.
Florent, a low flat dart down the far side wing. Haywood tried to take on the Goldstein tackle, and he... Well, I thought that was prior. If you attempt to spin out of a tackle...
I'm with you.
Or was he spun?
Maybe. Replay for easy debit.
I think when a big man chases down any little man, that's your prior.
Scott, little handball going back to Stevenson, who missed Horn Francis, trying to execute the same skill, had it taken away. Rowbottom came hard through the pack, and his handball gets Sydney just inside forward 50. Hickey taken off his kick by Scott. Parker, that was a clean pickup with pursuers in tow. Rowbottom couldn't take it off the ground, got an unkind bounce. Luke Davies Zuniak, one bounce through the middle, make it 2, got to be quick, he knew the flying pressure was coming, drew the tackle. Now Taylor, Zerha got out the back on Fox, little do-si-do, step to the right, back to the left, on the right, the dribble from a tight angle in the right forward pocket, just touched over the line and minor score.
Oh, so much to unpack with that. Talk about missed opportunities. Hugh Greenwood gets a great hand in, we'll come back to it.
Mills was desperate in the air. Disputed ball at left half forward for North Melbourne. Powell scrapping hard for it. Greenwood comes in. Taylor shoveled it up off the deck to Powell. Bumped off the kick. Turns him back inside forward. 50. Coleman Jones just had the height and the length to reach over the top of the 2 entangled players and pluck a mark 40 metres out on a 45 angle.
Needs to go back and kick this, because the previous play, they should have waltzed that to the goal line, the Kangas, and tapped it in uncontested. Just missing the easy options and trying to bite off far too much.
He kicked 3-3 from his 8 games this year, Coleman Jones. This is starting to work right to left, and it works enough. Yeah. Even the cheer squad a bit surprised. They were just maintaining their seated position, and then all of a sudden it just deviated a little late, snuck through, and they're up. Not in the game sense, though. They're still down by 11 points, 3-1-19. Sydney 4-6-30.
They're up and about.
Yes,
they are. Home line scoreboard.
They're the best goals, the ones that, you've kicked it poorly and it finds a way to go through. Coleman Jones just was recruited to the Kangaroos, I think, as the number one ruck to eventually take over from Goldstein, or at least get that opportunity at different stages this year. It hasn't worked out for him. He's played a fair bit of VFL footy. He's had some injuries, had COVID like everyone else, but just starting to string some footy together late in the season. Whatever happens with Goldstein moving forward, eventually I think there's enough there with Cherry and Coleman Jones as a bit of a 1-2 punch.
Josh Jenkins, Nick Del Santo, our experts on AFL Nation for buymystock.com.au. Another brilliant trap. Oh, that's just sublime stuff from Luke Davies-Uniacke. Trap, the step through, fires to the top of the square, went through the hands of Goldstein. Nervous moment for Rampy as he runs that ball over 10 metres around in the left forward pocket under no pressure at all. And the crowd and the North Melbourne players asked the question, did he show sufficient intent?
Kangas has done a great job for the last 8 minutes to turn this game into an absolute scrap. No space for the Sydney Swans to work in.
I've got the only score of it. Coleman Jones, clever snap over his left shoulder. Simpkin just got too much purchase. Flies that across the face of goal and it's bouncing in the right forward pocket. Clever tap from Paddy McCartan to brother Tom. His handball shut down by Larkey. Ball goes out of play about 20 metres around from the right point post and we'll have it thrown in. The only goal of the quarter so far. We've played over 5 minutes in it. Makita Rulli outdoors clock has gone to North Melbourne. Free kick going North's way, I think. So was there a hold?
No,
it's going to Rampy.
It's against...
The crowd started to go up.
For a block, was it?
I believe it's against Zerha. I didn't catch... It was off the play.
Rampy rolls out and delivers down the far side wing. Stevenson read it off hands. Dawson broke the first tackle. Just got the handball away before the second stuck. Taylor fed it back along the top line of the square. Walker's handball was disrupted in the air. McDonald falls on top of the footy and he's fallen on top of. Just about 10 metres up from the centre circle. Going to the far side wing. We'll have it tossed up. Coleman Jones won it decisively again, but gave it straight to Mills. He couldn't collaborate with Parker. Luke Davies-Uniacke again with strength, but Mills' tackle was just as strong. And he is pinged for holding the ball. He thought that he got a little handball out, but not correctly, said the umpire.
Swans playing a really high forward formation, so Buddy was the deepest forward, only 40 metres away from the ball, so plenty of space out the back for Lance and the other Swans forwards to run back through, but that's if they can get a little bit more flow in their ball movement.
Stevens runs around, Scott on the mark to 35 out. That is a strong grab taken off balance by Josh Walker, the late inclusion for Ben Mackay. He spreads to the right back pocket. Taylor's been involved in a lot. Might get his safety still shed stats numbers. There was talk this year of which players have improved for North Melbourne this year. I would say that he'd be one, Nick Del Santo,
that's
that has.
Seventh safety steal.
Nice two-bite grab take. No, called to play on now. Curtis thought he'd taken the mark, and it is always a little bit confusing when Curtis Taylor kicks it to Paul Curtis. No mark paid, so umpire crosses his arm and says, I'll throw it up again. On the far side wing. Stevens took it away, walking the tightrope. The handball is good. They get it back to Parker off a standing start. Inside forward 50, flat palmed by Walker. Look at Papley pounce. Steps back inside. It was a good, desperate defensive effort to just disrupt the kick from McDonald. Ball slewed off the boot and collected by Hall. Gives it back to McDonald, who tried to steer the kick on the outside of the left boot to Davies-Uniacke, but it's taken by McInerney. McInerney, 5 metres in from the boundary, squares it up inboard. A diving mark taken by Heaney at the top right-hand point of the square. In fact, it's Mills, rather. Mills lofts this one, looking for Buddy in the one-on-one. Tried to take it one-hand on the chest. Core did well. No free kick. There was a hold there, according to Jenkins. The North Melbourne bring it out of defence. It sat nicely for Anderson over the top of Warner. Anderson gave it to the runner, Simpkin. Simpkin down the broadcast wing. Zerha got a little body on Rampy, but couldn't take the mark. Tom McCartan took on two tacklers. Should have been pinged and wasn't. Now Curtis tries to come up off the ground. His handball to Simpkin. Simpkin took on a lot and came up with very little. Ball out of play.
So I was watching the umpire on that Buddy Franklin attempted mark/free kick. He had his hand out saying yes, it was a free kick, but never blew the whistle.
No, both holding. I actually think that's a good call. Franklin was holding jumper and so too was Core. JJ, if they're both holding, what do we say?
Free kick to the forward.
Yeah, free kick to the forward.
Isn't that what happens?
Free kick
I thought that was the unwritten rule.
Yes, fair enough. I would have said play on.
We're here to score goals.
Clearly we were all on the same page with that one. Collaborating on the broadcast wing, Luke Davies-Uniacke got it back from Goldstein and got North Melbourne inside 50. Larkey went to ground.
He's going to get...
He's got a free
he's
kick.
reversed it.
What has gone on here?
The double out of zone umpire has called that from the other end of the ground and overruled two others.
So there was two umpires inside forward 50 for North Melbourne. The umpire who at that stage when he called it was on the defensive side for North Melbourne in the centre circles.
I don't like it.
Has overruled the decision. Larky will get a free kick and will go back and fire from just inside 50 directly in front for his third. To cut the margin back to 5 points. Larky on the runway. The kick is good. He's got 3 and North Melbourne are making a fist of this. 5 points is the Sydney lead on the scoreboard for Athena Home Loans.
I don't like it. But all that matters is Nick Larky, he's got 3. He's running hot for Ream over 80 years of manufacturing in Australia.
Yep.
It might be a free kick, but I mean, if the two umpires closest didn't pay it, then why do you...
Do you think it was a free... Just on that, was that chipping?
I actually think Larky probably went down, knew that he was being...
Go on.
Beaten and went
you
down.
You got halfway there, didn't you?
Yeah, he went down with...
Little easy.
With the body contact, which is fine, because he knew he'd been moved off the ball. So, he played for the free kick. We've all done it.
I do agree with the call, though, that an umpire 50, 60 metres away that's overruled two others to get the call correct doesn't sound right to me.
Nick Dalsano, Josh Jenkins, our experts for buymystock.com.au. Goldstein nicely down to Horn Francis, who got Warner in his back, and he'll get the free kick.
I like this. He's playing on the ball. Get him around the fig.
Clever to give it to Hall on the burst. Now Hall inside forward 50. Again, Tom McCartan overcommits. Right forward pocket. Larky tracking it. Rampy chops it off. The handball at close quarters to McInerney as he runs out of play is well disguised. And we'll have a boundary throw in 45 metres around from North's right point post. They've kicked the only 2 goals of the quarter.
Jaden Stevenson up to 15 disposals. Safety still shed numbers, leading everybody on the ground.
Reed into the ruck, took it out of the ruck and taken down by Goldstein. Rowbottom found a crucial ground ball, jams it onto the right boot and gets about 50 metres to the far wing. Hall, nice step to come back inboard. Steers the kick on the bounce to Scott, who couldn't take it cleanly. Haywood could. Now watch him hurt him on the counter-attack. Clark, Buddy running back to goal in a one-on-one. Core, that was a good fist, I thought. And Franklin will get a free kick.
Predictive mark.
Gee, has he played the mark?
He's paid the mark.
Payback, Sam. It's an evener-upperer.
I wouldn't mind a replay for Easy Debit. Join Easy Debit today for simple payment solutions. Join Easy Debit today.
While Bud's going back for this, I'd love to have a chat to Aaron Hall and say, why can't you just hit the free player? Why do you have to try and lace something and take a little bit of risk when you don't need to take any risk at all in your defensive half? Had an easy option, thought, nah, I'm going to try something that no one else can do.
One of those days, Aaron. I said, if you're not here, get it sweet.
So Franklin, 45-degree angle, but only 20 metres out, stands Aidan Core on the mark, and he looks at the umpire and says, that will be forgiven but not forgotten. If you know your Core songs.
No.
Franklin for his second. And he's pushed it right.
The Core's the Irish band with 3 sisters and a brother in it?
Yeah, I think he's the 5th. Aidan. His family are from Ireland. You never know.
So he's related, is he, or not?
Yep. No, I think Core's family are from Ireland. I don't know if he's related to the actual Cores. Hall goes for distance, coming out of defence.
It's cool.
Good fist away from Rampy. Siebel, we haven't called his name, I don't think at all. Got a handball to Taylor, who's going to get it back coming through the middle. Horn Francis was already being tackled by Lloyd as he accepted the footy. Rampy won it back for the Swans. Goulden quickly got a handball out McInerney, able to get some separation and get it to Rampy. Standing start on the left boot. Buddy's tracking it 25 out directly in front. Got an unkind bounce and sat nicely for Hall. Looped it over the top to Dawson. Dawson did Anderson no favours. He's got to just guide it down in midair onto the left boot. It didn't sit for Greenwood. Rolling through was Blakey. Slapped it back to the advantage of Lloyd. And Florin is taken by Greenwood. Strong claim. Sydney have just got numbers though around the footy. It spills out to Stevens, who was drilled by Ziebel as he kicked the footy, and he coughs it up to Hall. Left
there it is back. Again.
Hall goes to a 2-on-1 in the middle looking for Larky. McInerney disrupts it. Follow the ball. Florin easily steps through the tackle, cuts back inboard. Puts the handball over the top of the oncoming traffic. Blakey now. Desperate lunge from Horn Francis to dive in a hole to get a fist on it. It spills to McInerney. who lofts one inside, going back with the flight. Walker was spoiled by his own teammate. Rowbottom pounces on it. Quick snap on the right, goes right, and a minor.
That snap sums up the game. It is a little ugly at the moment. It is a little ugly. And, the Kangaroos would be in front if Aaron Hall wasn't playing. That sounds like a really harsh and rude thing to say. He's just going for too much and continues to turn the ball over and has made no adjustment thus far.
So it's a 7-point Sydney lead. 4-1 are North Melbourne. 4-8 are the Swans on the scoreboard for Athena Home Loans. Pay down your home loan faster with Athena Home Loans.
Hangers done a brilliant job this quarter to get the game on their terms. Sloppy, contested, really difficult to move the ball for the Sydney Swans. Challenges on the Swans. How do they open this game up like they had in the first quarter?
Taylor at right half back had no options on the outer wing, so they go back inside defensive 50. Core switches across the face of goal. Left back pocket Stevenson, who comes to the broadcast wing. Zeeble was the target. Courage from Warren to go back with the flight. Ground ball collect from Dawson. Good handball inboard. Anderson, Simpkin, Rowbottom ran him down and rolled him around out of play. Boundary throw-in coming up for Snapple. Bite-sized payments win.
You can say the same thing about Jaden Stevenson. Normally when you get the ball a lot, you don't have to be, and you don't touch your footy a lot. Sometimes you think, I've got the ball, I need to make something happen. These guys get it a lot. They're still biting off arguably incorrect passes and kicks. So it's baffling at the moment.
To left half forward, North Melbourne went off the boot of Logan Mcdonald, who got it from Horn Francis, off hand. Lloyd. Zerha just did enough to mean he couldn't get a clean handball away. Rampy's got to mop up again. Coleman Jones is going to chop this ball off in front of Parker at left half forward for North Melbourne. Couldn't claim it, but could see it out of play. And will have it thrown in at left half forward.
Swans just kicked the three behinds this quarter. Their inside 50s have absolutely dried up. No space. I think Jed Anderson's been enormous this quarter around the football.
Andrew thrown for Snaffle. Bottom again up off the ground. Got out of the Anderson tackle, which is no mean feat. Hickey put it out into a path for Heaney. Inboard 15 metres. Goulden, who just didn't claim it, thumped it with his left hand into the right forward pocket and kept going on after it. And they go right after him. Young, it was a good tackle for him. Simpkin dragged off it. Heaney doing the tough stuff. Gave the bump that gave the opportunity to Rowbottom to put him to the top of the square. Hayward couldn't bring it down. McDonald, well tackled, dropped it cold. Luke Davies-Uniacke comes up with a big defensive stop.
Great tackle. Goal-saving tackle again. The Swans, they look half a body or half a disposal away from kicking a goal. The Roos are holding up really well down back.
Walker will canter outside of defensive 50. Meandering along, kicks to a one-on-one, the lead of Goldstein. And that's well defended by Fox.
Great. Awesome defence. That was a one-on-one down the line.
That kick up for Goldstein.
Well, Goldie actually led out the football, so the responsibility is for Goldie to identify that he's got a mismatch in Fox, asked for the long option, but he led full-chested at the kick, and therefore there's no other option.
Nick Dalsano, Josh Jenkins with buymystock.com.au on AFL Nation for Tyre Power, the tyre safety experts week in, week out. Swans will come away from the restart here. You don't want to leave Goulden in space, and that's exactly where he found himself, because he will scalpel a ball onto the sternum of whoever he intends, and this time it's Heaney. Outside 50. Hayward coming back with the flight. Offhand. McDonald was going the wrong way. Coming through Papley, who just buries the right boot into it from point-blank range. He gets his second, and the Swans just reassert a little bit of control in this game. Margin to 13 points.
Well, there's the difference in the skill level. Goulden laces one out to Heaney, full-chested, takes it on the tummy, so he must have put the grippo there. And then he rolls around with a lot of confidence, knowing that he's going to have representation forward of the football. This is why you train these drills. This is an identification of, hey, if I mark it in this particular area of the ground, I'm going blind. Tom Papley doing what good small forwards should, front and centre. And a fortuitous bounce that allows him to tap it in from the goal line.
Shin that one, hit that one off his shin, his fibula, of his tibia. It was good work rate, it was good system. The ability to have Hayward and Heaney, two marking types. We know that Buddies likes to move and roam. Freed's a bit more of a target. Logan Mcdonald's a target as well. But having Heaney and Hayward as aerial targets just makes life so good.
Luke Davies-Uniacke brings North Melbourne out of the middle. Handballs to Greenwood. He just pops up a little kick to Larkin to lead on two. Clever with the caressing of that ball for Greenwood. Didn't overcook it. Just said, you come up at it.
It was Goldilocks. It was just right. Allowed Nick Larkin to come in at his own speed. He's been very good. Spoke about him earlier, JJ, about the difficulty he's had. And did you say it's the most difficult position, being a sole key forward in this team?
In AFL football, this guy.
At this club as well?
Any club.
45 on a 45. He's got 4. 33rd goal of season 2022 for Nick Larkey.
He'd be feeling... No, he's got 4 goals to his name, so a foolish thing to say. But even the matchup with Rampy, now Rampy's lauded for his competitiveness and his ability to stay in the fight and make life hard, but Rampy's 188. And I'll be surprised if he even is 188, to be honest. Larky's a genuine 6'6". He's 198. He's got long arms. So any balls that go high in the air, and Rampy likes to play your back shoulder as well. So when he plays on those big guys, he really does put himself at risk. So balls that are delivered well, as you said, Nick Del Santo, Hugh Greenwood put it out in front, weighted it nicely. Larky was able to use that 198 centimetre frame to go up and get it.
So there's just over 5.5 to play in this second term. The lead is back to 7 points. Warner to come through the middle of Marvel. Long, strong. Reed going back, off hands. Buddy rises up. They all went past him. Buddy quick snap, top of the square. Just to the right-hand side of Minor.
So it's been dominated the centre square bounce by the Kangas. 7-3 to this point. So they are having the ability to get out the front of the stoppages in those moments. Just as quickly, the Swans can do it on the way back.
So the lead is now 8 points for Sydney, for Athena Home Loans, AFL Nation for Tyre Power and for Maccas. North Melbourne kicked 5 straight from set shots, 1-3. Sydney have kicked from the same situation for Safety Steel Sheds. They want to go to the outer wing. North Melbourne comes off hands though. McInerney fed it back to Parker off a standing start. Got his second Brett Kirk medal for the season last week, did Parker. Gathered by Core, rolls the kick to Lazaro down the outer wing. McInerney got a good body check from Greenwood. Happily just overran the footy a little bit. Now it's in dispute on the top line of the centre square. Warner came away with it. A thumping high ball. Franklin comes out one by. Well, it was going to get it on the second. Heaney took it out of mid-air. Heaney pivots, kicks and goals. From 25, make it 30 directly in front. That's Heaney's first.
Well, that was all class. Thought Bud was going to get it on the second grab. Loving what Warner's been doing all year, and he's now getting his hands on the football quite a bit this quarter. But as they go forward, they just look threatening and potent every single time. It hasn't paid off this quarter because of the pressure of the Kangas and them getting numbers back. Bud gets the jukes up in the air, gets poached at ground level, and he spins on a dime and just with ease around the body. The goal awareness to know exactly where your body's facing and how I get into an organised position makes it look so easy.
It was elite forward craft from Heaney as well, just to be able to just distract Young. Young was committed to go for the aerial ball, and Heaney knew that Buddy was going to go for it as well. So he just did enough to make Young's life hard. He couldn't intercept Market, and Heaney was left 1v0 at ground level, and you know the result.
Are those some of the things that we sometimes don't factor in? I'll put a pin in that for a moment, as Hickey was able to bring Sydney out of the middle and leading up at the footy. Just realised that kick was going to get shallow from Hickey and Reed.
Just got to hang tough here, the Roos.
Found it about 5 metres in front of his opponent in Walker. 20 metres out directly in front.
Short run up here.
He's had a really good second half of the year, hasn't he, Sam Reed? He's got his first. They get a couple in a row, the Swans. Lead now is 20 points, which is game high.
He's had a great second half of the season, Sam Reid. You just wondered with Logan Mcdonald whether he'd have a spot in this side, but he's just really he's improved a lot in the ruck. He's doing great things in the ruck, and his tackle numbers have gone through the roof. He's had 2 games this year with 10 or more tackles in the game. He had 13 earlier in the season against the Western Bulldogs. I think that was the game Hickey might have went down mid-match. He had 13 tackles, but just been way more involved. For a long time, he was a jump up and mark or not much else guy, and he's an elite contested mark. But now he's just getting involved in so many different areas.
Now it's Logan Mcdonald who's come to the bench. He's only had the 2 handballs to this point, so he's the one that's missing out today.
By the way, Sam Reid, if you've watched the TV series Yellowstone, a dead ringer for Jimmy.
Oh, mate, you say that every week.
Well, I just need a little bit of support on it.
Well, it's a great shot. I'm just not quite sure if
Hickey
it's
has kicked
accurate.
the ball that has gone 50 metres high and 0 metres long. Somehow Warner's been able to get it. Guided back by hand to Heaney, who caresses a lovely path. Out of wing, Rowbottom in some space. Doesn't waste any time going long and strong to the top of the square. And on cue, Jimmy got rid of 2 opponents and took the chest mark. 15 out directly in front.
Well, I'm glad he looks like Jimmy, as long as he doesn't behave like Jimmy from Yellowstone, because he's not the most switched-on unit, that particular character.
I like the call. He does look a fair bit like Jimmy.
Yes,
but,
thank you, JJ.
Don't, JJ, don't join that rubbish in the front row.
At least he might give up on it now.
Reed's got 2 in half a minute. And Swans have got a 26-point lead. We've got 3 minutes to play in the second term. Makita rule the outdoors clock. They were slow to get going in this quarter.
Yeah, they're going now.
They are going now.
So they're getting some space forward of the football, getting those isolation one-on-ones. And it's something that Reed's done really well for his whole career. Maybe it's been overshadowed by the guy beside him being Bud, but he's got a great craft, JJ, of finding the right spot, keeping that space empty for the drop zone and then just falling back into the footy.
Yeah, that was a brilliant mark. Just, as you said, great forward craft there to be able to just hold Walker off and just double grab it, deliberately double grab that ball to take the speed off the ball and then be able to take the mark and finish 2 in 2 minutes for Sammy.
The last 3 goals of the game have Sydney. Around the grounds, by the way, for Kangan Institute, 1-3 TAFE. Melbourne workable forward through Desperate Anderson. Little Superman handball up off the ground. Getting it from Luke Davies-Uniacke, his fellow hyphen in Horn Francis. Just had a little bit of company as he applied that right foot snap and goes out of bounds on the full. Round the grounds, Kangan Institute 1-3 TAFE. 20-point win in the VFL at Arden Street to Sydney over North Melbourne today. We're at the game of Sam Wicks, 27 disposals and 3 goals, 2 if you don't mind. And Joel Amati kicked 3. Charlie Condon kicked 3 for North Melbourne as well. Oh,
bad luck, Tommy Lynch, head coach of the VFL Kangas.
Big chompers.
What a loss.
Ball goes out of play, just backward to right half forward for North Melbourne. Clock says 2:29 left to play in the first half. Makita rule the outdoors, AFL Nation for Tyre Power, tyre safety experts week in, week out for Macca's. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today. 26-point lead. They will come away from stoppage again. It was Parker who guides them up the outer wing. Buddy pressuring Core, who's hatching it, but not pinged.
I'll give you a moment. Some of you got Ben Cunnington's numbers as he returns to football today.
I was just having a look down there, just trying to do a couple of things
I'll get those
at
for you,
once.
man. I'll get them.
18 disposals for Ben Cunnington.
17 of them clearances.
I was going to give up on it, JJ, but one more finger roll on the app, and there he was. That is a special, special story, a heartwarming story, Ben Cunnington coming back. We might just get you, when you get a chance, Del, there's 2 minutes left in the quarter here, 26-point lead to Sydney, comfortable at the minute. Just talk to us about, he's a quiet person, we don't hear a lot from him in media, but talk to us about the man. As Warner takes Sydney inside forward 50. Reed coming back with the flight, couldn't take the mark, foraging forward at ground level is Papley burrowing. Oh, now roll. Flipped by his opposite number. Ball squirts out of that pack. Young comes away with it. Handballs at inside defensive goal square. Scott, now they come at him. Clark hurries him, harasses him over the line for a minor score. That pressure's just lifted again. It had dropped off. It's just a minor score, so 27-point lead. Dal.
I remember asking Brad Scott when I was on the way over to the Kangas, and I was speaking about the midfield, and he was complimenting this guy, Ben Cunnington, clean his hands in the business, does this around stoppage. I was like, okay, I know who he is, but I'm not quite, that complimentary of him. I get to the football club, he was the biggest surprise as a player, but also as a person. Extremely quiet, family-orientated, has a seriously good boat that he would spend at least 1, if not 2 afternoons a week on, as there's a 50-metre penalty, and just loves spending time out on the water. A lovely, lovely fella, and unbelievably good at clearances, and has the cleanest and quickest hands in the comp.
So Walker is walked all the way to the front edge of the centre square. He puts them right to the top of the goal square. No mark taken. They fight for it at ground level off hands. Hickey was clean with his hands. Mills, not so, but it was effective. Rampy can take it on the bounce. And he hits up Reed. Defensive side of the outer wing. Providing the run was Fox. Wanted to go long, realised a shorter option had presented. It was Franklin, who got some body contact and milked it for every bit it was worth. He was looking at the umpire before he even hit the ground, asking the question, 50? No.
Slowed their own ball movement. That's what it did, having to get off the ground.
And then he's put it about 5 metres in front of Henny on the lead at left half forward. The ball goes out of play.
And just
North Melbourne looking for any break. They asked for insufficient intent.
And then one last thing on Ben Cunnington. Openly doesn't like talking to the media. Not because he hates them or anything, just doesn't want to speak about himself or football to anybody outside the footy club. Well, he came up to interview him post a victory a couple of years ago when he's on the ground, which he was obliged to do, and he mumbled a couple of words that I can't repeat on air before we got started.
Hickey took it out of the ruck again. Awkward moment again for North Melbourne. Out the back of the pack. At the top of the square. They're going to get out of a jam here. Scott tried to guide it to Young with 2 to beat in the air and he couldn't do so. Papley heard a voice as he gathered. Right forward pocket. Hayward couldn't take it. Clark lost possession in the Zeeble tackle. North Melbourne hurry it out of defensive 50. Larkey got a really unkind bounce and it sat comfortably for Tom McCartan. Feeds a handball back to Fox, who got some heat from Zerha, who skies it to right half forward. Anson almost takes another one for hangmytv.com.au. Simpkin, haven't called his name in a little while. Tries Simpkin. It looks like he and Warner are going head-to-head as a siren sounds. On an interesting first half of footy at Marvel Stadium. North have made the most of their forays forward, 5-1-31. But you feel like the floodgates are about to open. The Swans eyeing off a re-entry into the top 4 at 8-10-58 on the scoreboard for Athena Home Loans. And this is AFL Nation. BuyMyStock.com.au, Josh Jenkins and Nick Del Santo. Sam Hargraves here as well as we do it for Tyre Power and for Maccas. We'll be back to dissect the first half on the other side of this.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Athena Home Loans. Pay down your home loan faster with Athena Home Loans.
Enjoy exceptional savings for a limited time on the Mercedes-Benz C-Class Edition C. It's in a C-Class of its own. Shop in store or online today. T's and C's apply.
Every interview and every show. Listen to the podcast now. Just click the catch-up button on the SEN app.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab, steel kit buildings and custom-designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
Hard Yakka is known for making tough look good, and their new men's and women's winter range is no exception. Gear up head to toe with the new winter staples. From the super warm Sherpa jacket with bonus beanie, shacket or women's zootie, down to their most sustainable boot, the O2 Pump, that features a collar airbag for additional ankle protection. Hard Yakka's new winter range, making tough look good. Available at hardyakka.com.au and available stockists. Hard Yakka, for a new breed of Aussie legends.
Hi Australia, this is Sam Kirk, Australian football team captain and Chelsea FC footballer. Aussies have voted Mate as having the most satisfied NBN customers in the country in CanStar Blues 2021 Satisfaction Awards. Mate scored 5 stars in 5 categories, beating all its competitors. If you want award-winning Aussie service together with great value internet, then Mate has your back. Search Mate online to find out more.
At Elders Insurance, our support for our local community is hands-on. From local football to your favourite events, we give back in the ways that matter most to you. And because we live and work where you do, we can take the time to get to know you and your needs, as well as our community. Find your local agent at eldersinsurance.com.au or call 13 56 22. Elders Insurance is underwritten by QBE. Visit eldersinsurance.com.au to read the PDS and TMD to decide if this product is right for you.
Hello, bank.
Hello, I wanted to...
Number.
Sorry?
Customer identification number.
I do have a name.
Well, you're a number to us.
Well, you guys sure love a number.
Numbers? Oh, yeah. New customer target numbers. What? Extra fee numbers. And don't get me started on the bottom line. Have you seen our last quarter profit numbers?
No.
Amazing. All those zeros.
At Athena, the only numbers we care about are the number of years and dollars you can slash off your home loan. Visit athena.com.au to pay off your loan faster. Athena, love us and leave us. Standard credit criteria, terms, conditions and government charges apply.
If you're a driver, rider, pedestrian or bystander and been injured in a road accident, you could be entitled to compensation.
Arnold, Thomas and Becker can advise on all your entitlements, which could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars and is in addition to what is provided by the TAC. Talk directly to an Arnold, Thomas and Becker lawyer and start your claim today. Arnold, Thomas and Becker Lawyers, securing compensation for Victorians for over 50 years. And if there's no win, there's no fee. Call 1300 333 300.
Hey, Nick Del Santo here. As a rookie, I was mentored by some of the best footy brains around. After all, you don't play over 300 games without starting somewhere. In business, it's easy to find a gun rookie. Just call MEGT. As Australia's largest and only national apprenticeship network provider, MEGT are your local apprenticeship experts. Whether you're an employer who needs an apprentice or you're looking to kickstart your career as one, MEGT has you covered. Visit MEGT.com.au or call 13MEGT.
Which oil keeps your business moving? Farmers and fleet managers, they know. Construction crews and car mechanics, they know. And you know. Valvoline, the original engine oil.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
He's 8 games this year, Coleman Jones. This is starting to work right to left, and it works enough. Snuck through, and they're up. Not in the game sense, though. They're still down by 11 points. And this time it's Heaney, outside 50. Hayward coming back with the flight, off hands. McDonald was going the wrong way. Coming through Papley, who just buries the right boot into it from point-blank range. He gets his second. And the Swans just reassert a little bit of control in this game. High ball, Franklin comes out, one by, well, it was going to get it on the second. Heaney took it out of mid-air. Heaney pivots, kicks, and goals from 30 directly in front.
Macca's I'm Loving It moments. Grab a creme brulee pie for just $1.50.
Oh, the Macca's I'm Loving It moments for Macca's. Catch a quarter pounder at Macca's. It's time for a halftime floor show thanks to Choices Flooring, hybrid flooring. Choices Flooring.
The Choices Flooring halftime floor show. Choices Flooring's Abode Hybrid Collection, the water-resistant flooring choice.
And as we always do, we'll start with the stats wrap for Safety Steel Sheds, designed to save, built to last. And there's been some big ball winners in this game for the Sydney Swans. First of all, Luke Parker's had 18, Rowbottom 16, Heaney 14, 4 tackles, 1 goal, 1. Tom Hickey has been all over the place as well, 14 disposals and 20 hitouts. Mills 13, Papley 12 and a couple of goals. For the Roos, Stevenson's collected 18 disposals across half-back Davies. Uniacke 17, Hall 17, Anderson 16, Simpkin 13 and Taylor 11. The hanger of the day for hangmytv.com.au, because that's what they do. Well, our man Sam Hargraves probably thought a little more of it than it actually was, but Jed Anderson skied high for a nice little specky. I reckon it was a little specky, you'd call it, in the first term. So that is the hanger of the day for hangmytv.com.au. The player of the day so far, thanks to Henley Homes. Henley Completed Homes, now selling in Mickleham and Tarnee, henley.com.au. I've been really impressed by James Rowbottom's game, young Swans midfielder. His ability to get involved offensively and put pressure on the opposition as well. He's had 16 disposals, laid a couple of tackles. He's just been a bit of a tone setter for them in this game. 3 clearances, a couple of inside 50s as well. And must give some love to Nick Larkey. Even though the Swannies are up by 27 points, Nick Larkey has kicked 4 goals from his 6 disposals. So he's in the mix for player of the day. The unmissable moments for Drink Wise. You won't miss a moment if you drink wise. Tom Papley's celebrating. We love it each and every time. We've seen it a couple of times this afternoon. I reckon we'll see it a couple more times in the second half. The unmissable moments for Drink Wise. Choose to drink wise. The MEGT Rookie of the Day. MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. Call 13MEGT today. Can you talk about Jason Horne-Francis? He's always a keen topic because he was the number 1 draft pick, and there's been so much talk about him. He's just been he's been quiet today. He's only had the 6 disposals, but the Roos are trying to get him into the game. He's attended a few centre bounces, which has been important for him. Hopefully they keep that up, get him involved in the game. Don't just leave him in a position where he's not going to be able to influence and impact the game. So hopefully the Hornet can get involved heavily in the second half. Around the grounds for Kangan Institute, our heroes are made at Kangan Institute, kangan.edu.au, RTO 3077. Of course, the Swannies got the job done in the VFL earlier today in the clash between these two teams at Arden Street. And we've got Brisbane Lions and Carlton, a big game at the Gabba, kicking off at about 3:20 p.m. And West Coast and Adelaide will follow us here on AFL Nation. We'll be taking, the coaching move of the day for TC Boxes, home for trays, canopies and toolboxes. I thought Aidan Corr's done a good job on Lance Franklin thus far. I thought it might have been Josh Walker coming straight in as a late in for Ben Mackay. I thought Walker might have got the job on Lance Franklin, but Aidan Corr's done a good job. He's had the 5 disposals himself, but he's had an almost day, and I think he's not far away from ripping this one apart. He's had 6 disposals and kicked 1 goal too, but Aidan Corr's done a pretty good job. So we'll give Patch Adams the nod for the coaching move of the day for TC Boxers. We'll be taking calls all weekend for Star 2021 Telstra Enterprise Partner of the Year, and that was the halftime floor show thanks to Choices Flooring, hybrid flooring from Choices Flooring. AFL Nation for Icon Services Solutions that matter. We're up in the Coates commentary box. Coates equipped for anything. It is Sydney 8:10:58, North Melbourne 5:1:31. Back on the other side with my men, Sam Hargraves and Nick Dalsano.
A sports news update for Rolled. Eat good with Rolled. It's fast, fresh Vietnamese.
I'm Chelsea Ryan with your sports update thanks to Rolled. It was another gold rush for the Aussies at the Com Games on day 9. On the track, Oliver Horse stormed home to win the men's 1,500-metre final with the game's record time of 30.12 seconds. Jemima Montag took out the 10,000-metre walk, and Curtis Marshall has pole vaulted to win back-to-back Com Games gold. There were also 2 gold on the bowling green, an emotional one with rhythmic gymnastics, and another in table tennis in classes 6 to 10. And it was a double gold in the pool. Annabelle Smith and Maddie Keeney claimed gold in the diving on the 3-metre synchronised springboard. And diving legend Melissa Wu and 14-year-old Charlie Petrov took out the 10-metre synchronised platform. Also, Australian Netball Diamonds team and the Hockey Roos are through to gold medal matches.
A sports news update for Rolled. Fast, fresh Vietnamese. You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Want to win free barista-made coffee for an entire year? That's a lot of lattes. Just buy a McCafe coffee on the My Maccas app for your chance to win. There are 25 winners every day. But hurry, limited time only. Ends 30th of the 8th, 22. Visit mcdonalds.com.au/coffeecom for full terms.
If your business has stock that you just can't move, buymystock.com.au. Make your unwanted stock problems go away. Visit buymystock.com.au today.
We buy stock that you can't move. Buymystock.com.au.
Kane has a carpentry business. His challenge: to renew his public liability insurance for less than his old policy. On your marks, get set.
Yeah, I just did it.
What?
Yeah, I went online to BizCover. Took 5 minutes. I compared a bunch of policies. I saved over $250.
So, no dramas?
No dramas at all.
There are literally no dramas when you go to BizCover, the business insurance specialists. Save time, money, and get instant cover at bizcover.com.au.
Major building projects for the trade or a DIY home reno. Robot Building Supplies is the Australian-owned family-run business you can trust.
Robots got it.
Robot's product range is vast and world-class. And when it comes to product knowledge,
Robots got it.
Next day delivery in Metro Melbourne.
Robots got it.
Over 70 years experience and reliability helping Melburnians. Robot Building Supplies. Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. RobotBuildingSupplies.com.au.
ROBOT Robot Building Supplies.
Ride the Great Ocean Road this November on Australia's favourite riding and camping holiday, the Great Vic Bike Ride. Join this bucket list adventure and explore crowd favourites and hidden gems from Koroit to Buninyong. With 9, 5 or 3-day ride options to choose from, it'll be the perfect way to kickstart your summer with family and friends. Make sure you book before early bird entries end on Sunday, August 7 and save up to $120 off your ticket. Head to greatvic.com.au.
If you've come home to find your property has been damaged, call 131 444.
If you've had something stolen from your car, call 131 444.
If you've lost something or found something valuable, call 131 444.
If you want to register a party or let us know you're going away on holiday, call 131 444.
So save 131 444 to your phone for when you need the police but not the sirens. For more information and for online reporting, visit police.vic.gov.au.
Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Imagine driving tomorrow's car today. Imagine the quality and innovation of a Hyundai Tucson SUV. Striking design inside and out. Powerful performance, advanced safety and technology. A selected range of Tucsons, including the powerful fuel-efficient diesel all-wheel drive models, are in stock now, ready to drive away. Tech drive a Tucson to see why tomorrow wants its car back. Visit Hyundai.com.au for details. Imagine that. Hyundai.
Installerine.
For the hottest of hot party you've ever seen. Rain comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Want the assurance of an Aussie family-sized electric water heater with a 12-year cylinder warranty?
Installerine.
Then accept nothing less than Australia's best.
Star 21 offers a new approach to your enterprise mobility strategy. Imagine a solution that's more flexible, secure and future-proof, keeping your business moving during these uncertain times. Star 21 delivers tailored mobility solutions that best meet your business needs using Telstra's 5G mobile network. Call the Telstra Enterprise Partner of the Year on 1300 Star 21 to discover the difference.
Star 21.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Swans in control of this one as we get set to start the second half at Marvel Stadium. They've got a 27-point lead. They've kicked 8-10-58. North Melbourne 5-1-31. So the scoreboard probably doesn't indicate the dominance that Sydney have had for the majority of this game. They did get it back to within single figures, North Melbourne, after kicking the first couple of the second quarter. But then they kicked 4 out of the next 5 goals, the Swans, to establish that 27-point half-time lead. Sam Hargraves, Josh Jenkins with you, and Nick Del Santo as well on AFL Nation for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. And for Macca's, catch that quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today. You will not be disappointed, and glad that you did. So we've been speaking a lot throughout the course of the afternoon about the special return to footy of Ben Cunnington, who's making a comeback with testicular cancer. We've seen Sam Doherty have a remarkable return to footy at the start of the year and in All-Australian contention off half-back for the Blues. Paddy McCartan has been one of the great comeback stories with what he has gone through with concussions, but this one sits right alongside those, Nick Del Santo and Josh Jenkins. So he had about 16 disposals in the twos today. And for this North Melbourne side here today, as they celebrated and paid their respects to the 1996 Premiership team, at times they've shown a fair bit of grit and a fair bit of up and at 'em.
Yeah.
What have you made of North Melbourne, the both of you, so far in this first half?
I can't ask much more, to be completely honest, and I don't say that because of the margin, but the way that they've actually gone about their football, and they're coming up against an opposition who are, considered in the top 4 or 5 best teams in the competition, that move the ball extremely well, have a great system behind the football, and have got some just genuine superstars that could almost win a game off their own boot. But we spoke pre-game about our expectations of the Kangas, and it was based off effort, and I haven't seen one contest that was easy for the Swans, or one contest where you think someone's shirked an issue from the Kangas' perspective. So they're giving what they've got. It's just a reality of the situation and difference in skill level, and probably just the balance across the playing 22.
Yeah, I agree. I've liked what they've done. There's a difference. I picked up a difference in system. The Sydney system and the ability to implement the system, probably more so. Now, the Roos coaches will be trying desperately to implement a system and get the players to buy in and get it done. But the Swans are able to roll back when it's time to roll back and help. They're able to really break hard and get forward. They get width on the ground when they've got the ball in hand to make it harder for the Roos to defend, whereas I've seen occasions where the Roos mids have been slow to get back and help, and they've left their backs really vulnerable, or when they haven't had numbers around the ball, they've still gone fast and they've turned the ball over. So there's a difference in the system, and we know Sydney are where they are and the Roos are where they are. The numbers stack up okay for the Roos, so they've been in the fight. Sydney have got the edge in most areas, but it's not stark. Probably contested possession -15. If the Roos could just clean that up a little bit and break even in the second half, they give themselves a good chance to hang around.
Nick Larkey's got 4 for North Melbourne. For Sydney, Papley has 2 and so does Reid. What have you made of the Swans, Dal, who, if they, at the moment, they're into 4th position, but a real big second half, could see them actually leapfrog Melbourne into 3rd.
Yeah, I see this opening up from here. It's an exhausting style of play that the Kangaroos have been playing, that very combative, in tight, slow the game down style. But what I've been really impressed with the Swans is at the right time they explode, they change gears, they use the ball really well. So the other bit from the Swans' perspective is they've had 52 tackles. Kangaroos have had 36, so their ability to apply pressure has been exceptional at the right time. And then on turnover, they've just been untouchable at times. And, just back with Josh's comments around the flow of the play.
That's right. Isaac Heaney might have trying to be channeling a little bit of Dermot Brereton.
Did he run through the opposition huddle?
They, in the middle, Goldstein, Greenwood and Simpkin were all in close quarter collaboration and conversation, and Heaney just went straight through them. A little bump on Goldstein on the way through was... We start the second half. I don't mean to interrupt you, Nick Dalsano, but that was worth noting.
Absolutely.
The opening bounce to the third. Simpkin comes away with it for tyre power. Tyre safety experts week in, week out. Larkey was the target. Had 2 to beat in the air. The McCartans, in conjunction, have infringed on Larkey. It was a push in the back, and I think it's against Tom. So Larkey can go back and shoot for 5 from 35 on a 45.
Well, this would be a perfect start.
Wouldn't it?
Just had a little... look at that on the replay screen, Samuel. Might need one more check just to make sure there was something there.
Oh, I don't think there was.
There's not much there.
Fortunate.
So, Larkey, it doesn't look great off the boot, but it doesn't matter what it looks like. It only matters where it ends up. And this ends up dropping over the umpire's head. Larkey has got a Michelle Pfeiffer, so he will pick up the ball, cricket style, and maybe raise it up to the crowd. And they've got a 21-point lead now, the Swans, after starting the second half, 27 points ahead for Victoria Police Assistance Line.
Not a lot there. It's probably the second one he's received.
Well, you were very suspicious of his out-of-zone umpire call previously.
Double out-of-zone. That one was probably not there, but all that matters from Nick Larkey's perspective is he went back, he went bang, and he has 5 on the board, so might be... he's 5 out of 6 too, if you don't mind. So the man with the hardest job in footy is making him mockery.
Is it as simple as, from a key forward's perspective, you just double that? Is that how you work out your afternoon?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
There you go. 10.
Hickey, another nice trap. Kick, was smothered trying to come out of the middle. Luke Davies-Uniacke and fell on the far side wing to Taylor. Taylor with Simpkin, who tried to steer it back inboard. Clark chopped it off in front of Hall. Spinning out of the LDU tackle was Florent and just fired out a rushed handball at the feet of Rowbottom. Taylor reclaimed it for North Melbourne. Oh, that's a beautiful sidestep around Clark from Goldstein. And he drills a bullet pass onto the chest of the bull himself, Cam Zurhaar, 40 metres out, directly in front. That is just...
There is something
delightful dance steps from Goldstein.
Something beautiful about a taller player in Todd Goldstein using his smaller players as a decoy so he can lace out the kick inside forward 50.
The kick doesn't get any better than that, Josh Jenkins. If you're on the end of that, you'd be wrapped.
Oh, the ball's off here.
Here he goes.
There it is.
Zurhaar points up. So I'm not sure what.
It was a little Tommy Papley point.
A little Papley point. And they've got 2 in a row, North Melbourne. Just like they started the second term, they start the third. And the margin now, just 15 points on the scoreboard. Victoria Police use the police assistance line for non-urgent situations.
Now, that one was better because Roos tried to bite off something through the middle, which is okay. on the proviso, you've got support if the kick doesn't land or go to where it needs to go. So too many times this afternoon, the Roos players have tried to really fizz one back on the inside, and it's been 4 Swans and 1 Kangaroo. That time there was enough support at ground level. It was almost intercepted, but they had support. Goldstein feigned to give the handball, let everyone go, and then just delivered that beautifully. He's the best kicking ruckman over the past sort of decade or so, isn't he?
He's a handy player, big goalman.
31 goals for the year now for Zerha. Hickey again, a centre clearance out of the middle. Franklin couldn't take the juggling mark. Does collect it off the deck. He screws this back around the body. And it bounces up into the right goal post.
It's been that day for Buddy.
It's been an almost day.
Oh, Aaron Hall.
It's been a shocking day for Aaron Hall, who again puts it at the... He's there. Bailey Scott skies one down the broadcast wing, just at right half back. Greenwood couldn't take the mark and then had to be careful not to get Parker high. McDonald claimed in a Mills tackle, 55 out from the Swans goal at left half forward, and we'll have it tossed up.
So John Lamar might have a different opinion to us because he sent their number 1 tagger and Ryan Clark to Aaron Hall. So he's a defensive forward as it currently stands. Aaron Hall just kicking over 50% in this game.
Well, he's
taking it around by Rowbottom.
Swan, I'll be handballing it to him.
That was my suggestion to John Longmire. Let him have the ball a little bit more today. He's just having one of those days.
Break even in the ruck. Hickey and Goldstein there to claim it, though. Off hands was Mills, but he was claimed by LDU. Scrounging kick inside forward 50, breaks left and out of play. 45 around from the left goal post. Will have a boundary throw in for Snaffle. Bite-sized payments win.
Sam, I've heard you say good kicking for goal is good football. The Roos have kicked 7 straight from such shots.
Oh, Warner, this is something special on the outside of the right and the left forward pocket. The banana just bent a little too much. Him and Simpkin playing a pretty close role on each other at the moment. We'll get their safety still shed stats numbers in a moment to see who's winning that contest. Stevenson will bring North Melbourne out of defence. He's going to drop it onto the head of Taby Zuniak. Kicked it past Simpkin, and now it's a dangerous spot. Oh, Franklin buried Simpkin in a tackle. Opens the door for Florent. Little give Warner. Little dinker, vacant goal square. They continue to stuff around with it coming out of defence North, and they are made to pay.
Gee, have contributed to a few goals for the Swans, haven't they, the Roos? They're just coming out of it. And that one's okay because it's just a skill error. It's not a bad decision. It's just a poorly executed drop punt, an 18-metre drop punt. It's just a poor kick. And Simpkin has to try and clean it up. Buddy cleans him up. One handball, and Warner very cleverly just dinks it to the goal line and it goes through for a goal. So
feels like that's just a matter of time. Those turnovers, they're going to cost them dearly.
They are. And the Swans, I think the Swans are in about maybe just trying to get into 4th gear at the moment. So they've got a bit more in them, the Sydney Swans.
23 points now is the Sydney lead. Hickey again almost over the middle, but Warner takes it off hands, turns and fires to Franklin. Just completely misread that in the air, did Buddy. Cord didn't and took the mark in front of Franklin.
Just back to that previous question, Parker's had 18. Simpkins had 16. Safety still shed numbers.
What about Warner? Because that was the original question, Del. I don't mean to quibble, but...
Let me just change that to 11.
JJ, did I not say Warner and Simpkin?
Oh, I can't remember.
Stay with me,
Curtis on the outer wing. That's a good kick to Goldstein, and Rampy overcommitted, so Goldstein was able to turn and go. Got it to Zeeble, who meanders inside forward 50, sizes it all up, had options at the top of the square, blazed away, did Zeeble, the skipper put it out of bounds on the full.
Yeah. Give Larky a look at it. At Larky and Zerha, 2v2 at the top of the goal square. Give them a look at it. They're both playing well.
That kick didn't go the required distance, and Rampy's taken in a Simpkin tackle and is dropped it cold.
Did Rampy not handball that football? That's...
Simpkin looks to play on, so he's 20 metres around from the left point post. A tight angle. He's having a look for options inboard. There are none.
I'll have a look for easy Devitt. He absolutely handballed that.
I didn't have the Bushnells up with the eyeballs at that point. I thought they were going long out of defence. Went short. Simpkin award over the tackle, so he puts his left shoulder to goal. This will take something special.
Tough kick on the...
Wearing John Blakey's number 12 as they celebrate the 96 flag, and that was always skinny and a minor. So just the one behind, 7-2-44. For Sydney, 9-12-66. 22-point Swans lead for a Victoria Police assistance line. And there is son of John, Nick Blakey, running it out of the fence, takes every allocated metre. Came off the Hayward hands. The mark's been, I thought that came off Hayward's hands, but they paid the mark to Dawson. Just inside the attacking half of North. Dawson tried to be cute with the kick. No one was leading to the area that he put it, and Florence was able to take an easy, uncontested mark.
Conversation for another day then, Sam. How's that not 50 metres? If the umpire's paid a mark and someone cribs over thinking that it was touched, why is that not 50?
Common sense rule. I reckon they would have applied.
Doesn't apply in this
We've
game,
heard that
you know
used before. Gordon handling and running away from goal, gave it back to Stevens, and his kick cannoned into the outstretched hands of Dawson.
The only
Pull out a
sport
play in front of the interchange.
We're the only sport I know of where you're allowed to think that something might have happened, so you can just break the rules for a moment. Doesn't make any sense to me, Josh. If it's paid a mark, that's the call. You're not allowed to think that something else has happened, so we'll go, okay, don't worry, we won't pay 50 right now.
Goldstein went to ground, came up as the ball bounced up in front of him. Simpkin pirouettes out of the potential tackle, jams it onto the left boot and helicopters it inside, forward 50. Tom McCartan took it in front of Larkey. The handball hoping for Blakey, didn't find him. Tom McCartan went back in and got it to Blakey. Mills, Stevens slams it onto the left slipper. It just went over the head of Heaney, who thought he was held by Young. Goldstein takes the intercept mark, steers it forward just the required along the bottom edge of the square. Luke Davies-Uniacke.
It's a good option.
Yeah, followed the advice of that man in the crowd. Kick it in, and he does go inboard to Powell. Here's Hall on the burst. Now he realises that every time he's trying to be cute, he turns it over. So he just says, I'll bring out the one wood and drop a bomb from outside 50 and go straight to the bench.
He is on the bench before, he would have been, but he slowed up before the umpire waved the flags.
Hasn't been a great kicking day for Hall.
That was
sensational.
That was an outstanding kick for goal. It was a nice passage of play, arguably the best we've seen. Davies-Uniacke found a teammate in some space. Handball received the overlap, and Aaron Hall from downtown, 53 out, goes bang. He likes it, as he should.
Right down the middle of the fairway, just got a little bit of left to right late, just to make sure it found its home.
Position A.
Yep. So Hall gets his first.
Up to 19 disposals.
And it's just a 16-point lead, so they've kicked 3 goals to 1. As they had in the second term, set upon ferociously was Mills, who took possession and then was taken by Anderson. Don't normally break through an Anderson tackle. Goldstein nicely down. Davies-Uniacke was looking for Anderson. Sharking it was Haywood. Parker went back and found it. Palmed off a tackle and then wobbled a ball to centre half forward. Young got a second bump on the right, like a double bounce on the trampoline. Couldn't bring it down. McDonald quickly pulled the trigger on the path to Franklin. But Core has stuck to his defensive assignment very well today and has taken another mark to outpoint the Bud.
He's just been a little more agile and quick to move. He's spotty, and we know Buddy's 35. He's just been quicker.
Luke Davies-Uniacke dropping it over the top was Anderson. He knows he's got the wheels to burn Florin. Now he just sends the kick low, flat and hard, top of the square. Larkey tried to go off the outside of the boot. Slapping it over was Rampy. They asked the question, did he deliberately rush that through? He did, but he was inside the goal square. And it's a rush behind. Geez, they had options leading back, and Francis tried. I don't think he was having a shot. I think he was actually trying to put it out in front.
I thought it was actually a really clever kick. It was a metre in front of Larkey. Unfortunately, didn't bobble up to the big fella.
15-point Sydney lead. We've got 13 minutes to play in the third term. Makita rule the outdoors clock. 3-goal-to-1 start has been crucial for New Farm Australian through and through for North Melbourne, who stay in this game. Player of the day contenders, if you wouldn't mind rattling off a couple. Larky's got 5, so he'd be right up there for Henley Holmes, build with confidence.
Row bottom.
Clark Goldstein playing a kick behind the play. Shark to Clark handball, bottom left-hand point of the square. Looping it over the top and getting it by hand was Scott. Son of Robert, who was made a life member today of the North Melbourne Footy Club. Keeps a low.
He bounced himself out of options
to Coleman Jones, and he gave away a free kick.
Had 2 leading players, both viable options, and took 2 bounces, and by the time he was ready to kick or decided to kick, those options were closed down. So sometimes it's better to kick rather than take your grass.
Robert Scott, Peter Bell, Mark Roberts, Glenn Freeborn, Matty Capuano and Stuart Anderson from that 96 flag team were inducted as life members today. Goldstein took intercept mark. Tried to guide a kick back into the corridor. Warner chopped it off, and Cause chopped it off in front of Franklin again. As able to collect, steps around the attempted tackle from Franklin. Hospital handball though to Powell, who's taken to ground immediately by Warner. Still inside the centre square. 15 metres in front of the circles going Sydney's way.
Great defence by Core. It's brave to play out in front of Buddy Franklin. When you get your hand to it, it just looks fantastic. Here he goes again.
Reed, a hurried kick, looking for Franklin again, who's going to get it from Heaney, and now the help comes. This time, Scott's able to apply a strong tackle to bring Franklin to ground, and Mills has taken in one just as strong by Core.
It's a combative game, isn't it? It's a tough game, this one. Like, both teams are having a red-hot crack. We can just see a bit of a class difference, but the Roos are up for the fight.
Holstein clean gather in the close quarter gives were good as well. Powell got it to Lazaro, and now just out in space, hoping for Taylor to run onto it. Set up nicely for him in front of Bakey. Now the support comes from the run of Dawson. Just overcooked the kick for Zerha. Tom McCartan paddles it over the boundary inside the front half for North Melbourne.
Swans leading the contested possession count by 21. Safe to still shed numbers.
Collingwood showed on Friday night that you don't always have to win that stat or any other, really, to get a win.
I heard Scott Pendlebury mention yesterday there's only one stat that matters, and it's the scoreboard.
Absolutely. McInerney wraps around to receive a handball, and that was just taking a little bit off the top of the grass. Collecting the mark low down was Goulden. Goes on the 90-degree kick. Inboard was Warner. Paddy McCartan provides the run. Options are plenty. Franklin in the left forward pocket. Hayward might have got a hand on that. Franklin arcs around. On the right! Franklin on the right. Rarest rocking horse, you know what? But he's come back inboard in the left forward pocket and kicked a goal of the game. For Host Plus, that's a plus. Did not even know that he knew how to use the right peg.
I only thought it was there for balance.
Wow.
It works. And what a brilliant goal it was.
Have a look at that on the replay for Easy Debit. Doing Easy Debit today. Just step back through the traffic and outstanding, flushed it.
Well, all the three North Melbourne defenders went left because for 20 years we've only seen one way.
He's been building to this moment for an entire career, Franklin.
It was like Zoolander. He's only ever been able to turn left, and then all of a sudden he realised I can go right.
Like Johnny Drama in Entourage, does not go right.
He's kicked 1,038. He's top 2 or 3 on his right foot.
It's only he's only got 2 or 3 to pick from.
Our man, one of the best in the business of Swamp Thing, I reckon he would know. If anyone's going to know, that's the Swamp Thing on Twitter. The only reason I've still got a Twitter account. Oh, Blakey picked up and dumped.
Speared
by Anderson. And they call it a dangerous tackle. I think he went easy on him, Anderson.
I agree. I thought he realised he was in a vulnerable position and just stopped.
Yeah.
Just below the centre circle, Blakey.
Lizard got airborne.
Just goes from the bottom of the circle to the top of the circle. That's not 15. McInerney works around Anderson on the mark. Normally a good user. Puts that well past Papley in the right forward pocket. It'll be a boundary throw at about 30 metres around from the right point post. So Sydney going to your left radio speaker to the Docklands ends, North Melbourne to the city end. So number 3 that in that 96 flag, Anthony Rock. War with distinction. Reed got the hand to it, but Simpkin was front and square. He just launches him out of defensive 50 via the outer wing. Tom McCartan overcommitted again in the air at the back of the pack. Larkey with wheels. Handbrakes. And put Tom McCartan on his posterior. Curtis provides the run, angles a kick back inboard. Zeeble had it fisted away from him. Rampy made sure of it. Tom McCartan handballed it back to Lloyd. Lloyd to McInerney. Stevens, 35 out for an offensive goal, has to be calm in this crisis. And they avoid said crisis. He steadies it to Hayward, who's a long way from his natural habitat, and he even just puts the hand up and down to say slow it down.
We took the mickey out of Tom Lynch, who's the VFL coach at the Kangas. I just watched Jason Horne-Francis. I watched him a little bit. I don't think he's yet picked up, Del, the off-ball running that's required to get from A to B and how quickly you need to get there. He's just often in between because he doesn't do his work early enough. Tom Lynch was one of the best at that when he was up and going, so hopefully he's having a look at that Monday to Friday with him.
Rowbottom, a clever kick as he collected it in chaos. got it to Goulden, and Goulden just hops it up and says to Isaac Heaney, you can make this yours. He takes the mark in front of Young, plays on quickly, snaps from 20 out directly in front, and he's got his second.
There's nobody better in the league than kicking around their body, left or right foot, than Isaac Heaney.
Ooh.
He's the best snapper, right foot, but he's the best opposite foot kick as well, snapping, Isaac Heaney. Does it from distance, does it from tight angles, just makes it look effortless.
Okay.
You're having a think about who you
I
can
am.
trump him
I
with,
am.
aren't you?
I already know that fortunately, Baby Shark, the Harley Davidson rider, will be getting ready to play around the grounds for Kangan Institute 1-3 TAFE. He'll be a little upset.
27 points as the lead again with 8.5 to play in the third term. Makita Rulli Outdoors clock,
Charlie
and that's
Cameron.
on the Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboard.
Happy to pick up that conversation with Charlie.
I'll send him. I'll pass him along.
Round the grounds for Kangan Institute 1-3 TAFE. Another game that's not too far away from starting is that Lions game at 3:20. Kangan Institute 1-3 TAFE. Free kick in the middle going to Anderson from the restart. Reed almost got him. The tackle as he was in two minds, Anderson. Forward handball's going to come off all right. Lazaro gave it to Powell, and Powell gives it back to Young. No one went at Young, so he can run his full measure. Into the top of the square he goes, off hands out the back. It trickles the breaks quite fast towards that goal line. There will be a rush behind.
Larky's just communicating. Just take some weight off that ball. Put it in front. Got a huge height advantage. I'm running hot. You look at it.
26 points now the margin. Just scores from turnover, 3-3-21 for North. And 5-7 for Sydney. There's a turnover coming out of defence, and Taylor takes the mark, quickly sees that Orn Francis all alone inboard. He sees that Zeebel's the same. Zeebel is absolutely crunched from two angles, and the mark is not paid, and the Swans are going to come away with it. Zeebel's still on his haunches going, what the hell have I done to you, Jason, to deserve that?
Well, the pass wasn't there to start with, so it's on Jack Zeebel to even call for it. Back the young man in, he was 40 out, clearly going to make the distance. Take responsibility.
Oh, he was met solidly, Jack Zeebel. Swans inch it out of defence to Blakey, defensive side of the outer wing. They're just a slow build up here. That wasn't required to go into the corridor for Florent. Just able to arc around the Zerhard tackle. Now he's able to stretch away, take a bounce, just for good measure. And that was a knuckle breaker ball inside forward 50. The kick, though, found the chest of Papley 40 metres out, pretty much directly in front.
And Luke McDonald's devastated because he'd done a lot of body work and work off ball on Papley. And in the end, Papley playing in front, as all good forwards should. Fortune favours the man in front, and that ball just lands smack bang on his chest. The Swans are just happy to kick it around a bit now, chip it around. 6 minutes to go, just own the footy a little bit.
This for a game high, 32 points.
Look at him.
Happily set sail from 45, and he wants a big high 10 from Bud. Oh, and then he's dumped. He is bundled over like a year 12 kid on a year 7.
He wants another kick.
He wanted another kick. He's asking why he's not getting one, and I think the umpire will be saying to him, because you milked that like he'd been shot.
It's the earliest I've seen a celebratory hand go up off the boot ever. He knew he flushed that.
It's a 4-goal-to-3 term in favour of the Swans.
Is there a suggestion the finger was already up before the ball had hit the boot?
It was out of the upswing, and the arm just followed it up. It's a crucial moment, I reckon, for New Farm Australian through and through, only because it's starting to become 32 points.
Yep.
The result is probably now beyond doubt, which hasn't been the case entirely throughout.
Their forwards had a good day, haven't they? Buddy's got 2, Papley's got 3, Heaney's got 2, Reed's got 2. They've shared the love.
It's nice.
Safety still shed stats there. The goal kickers, Greenwood, read it off the hickey hand, but Parker was able to collect him in the tackle.
One thing they've done really well today, guys, from the Sydney Swans perspective, is they haven't flown for the same football. They've been able to isolate the Kangas defenders and all had their turn at a one-on-one.
No one can get clear extraction. Now Parker can. He wobbles one to centre half forward. It's allowed to bounce. Breaks to the right-hand side of Buddy, coming through at pace, but not able to take the ball as Stevens. North Melbourne about to be on the end of a holding the ball free kick. The tackle from McDonald, who hasn't seen a lot today, but that's a good sign. A forward 50 tackle for him, and he brings Core down. in the competition, they are the number one tackle inside forward 50 team, the Swans. North Melbourne 18.
Which is a great stat and great number for them, because they do occasionally play McDonald, Franklin, Reid. Heaney's a marking target. We know he can jump up or he can play at ground level, but they are pretty tall down there.
McDonald gets that accentuated initial movement to move forward, and it's a very good set shot from a tighter than a 45 angle from just inside 50. He gets his first. 38 points now is that lead on the scoreboard for Victoria Police assistance line.
Just his fifth disposal for the game. That's a lovely execution of a drop punt. And you speak about the threats that they've now got in that forward line. Having their ability to kick goals and the set shots, it makes them very, very daunting and difficult matchups in isolation, let alone as a team defence. I like the way that they've gone about their football. I mean, they've got the delivery like they've had at times. They're hard to stop. But the reason you have great forward half pressure, and in particular forward 50, is if it's not perfect, you can lock the ball in there, get a second chance, or like Logan Mcdonald did, get a hold of the football and then capitalise on the second opportunity.
They'll be glad they locked McDonald up on a 5-year deal, particularly if Lance Franklin leaves. He'll will be the cornerstone, one of the key pillars for them next year and moving on.
Oh, Goldie's been absolutely flush with a falcon from his own teammate.
Oh dear. Stevenson coming off the half-back line. Quick little give, Davey Zuniak. Heaney, though, read it, stole it, and sizzled one in. McDonald on the end of it.
Sorry, Goldie, but that is absolutely the Amy Klanger who covers Klangers. Amy does.
Thinking, I won't be tapping it down to you again. I think it was Luke Davies-Uniacke that just flushed it in his own ruckman's face. Goldie lost his feet.
So, I've seen this a couple of times throughout this afternoon with succession goals. This will he'll need every bit of this, McDonald, and just going for the extra distance. He pushes it to the left-hand side, and it is a behind. So he's got 1-1 from 2 marks. 8-4-52 North Melbourne, Sydney 13-13, 91.
There must be a kicking coach, a goal kicking coach, who's teaching that motion that Logan Mcdonald has. Darcy Fogarty does the same. Taylor Walker does it. I've seen it around a fair bit, so there must be someone just scouting around, a consultant, teaching these young guys that technique.
39 points is the lead to Sydney Victoria Police assistance line. North Melbourne have worked it around the outer side. Onto the chest of Zeeble, who's going to give it back to Scott on the burst. Top left-hand, top right-hand point of the square. Larkey angling across. A couple of Swans defenders couldn't take the mark. Didn't get a free. On the arc of 50, Goldstein tried to thread the needle forward handball to Greenwood, but Parker took it away again. To the broadcast wing, it bounces for Buddy. He looks to put a step on Core, goes to go back onto his right. Core did not give up on the assignment. Brought Franklin to ground, not before he got a handball out to Goulden. Goulden steers it inboard to Parker. Forward handball to Warner, who palms off Horn Francis. Back to Parker. Curtis claimed him in a tackle. Horn Francis hit the footy at pace. Dragged down though. Blakey latched onto him. And he's rewarded.
It's a big learning experience for Hornford. You can see it.
Florent cruises past. Drives this one to the top of the square. Hickey. McDonald spoiled him in the air. Reid coming back to goal. Paddled it forward, hoping for Clark. Walker's tried to slap it to Young's advantage. A metre in front of the Swans' goal. Heaney falls in on top of it. And we're going to have it tossed up directly in front of the Swans' big sticks as McDonald was trying to help Hall with his cramp as the ball was being tossed up in the air, and now it's pushed over for a minor score.
Let's go back to that Horn Francis moment as this ball's kicked in.
Curtis,
he will be capable of breaking those tackles in years to come. He's not far off. He's an absolute bull and hits the ball at pace.
Markey had a nice sit but couldn't bring it down. Tom McCartan was strong as that body fell on top of him. He gave it back to Lloyd. Lloyd just had enough on the kick to get it over the head of Horn Francis to Blakey, who gave it back to Florent, and Florent just inboard the required. So still on the defensive side of the broadcast wing with McInerney. 39 points is the lead for the Swans. Florent sticks it forward, 25-metre pass to Rowbottom. Coming past is Warner, eyes it off from the arc and bounces it through for his second. Continuing on a fine year is Chad Warner. And they are about to break this one right open. Don't mind top 4.
But they have.
They can go top 3. 14-14, 98. North Melbourne 8-4, 58.
Dell and I have just been watching the young man, Horn Francis, and you sort of was like, we talk about it, mention it. Now, Brent Harvey's having a really long, sustained chat with him. Just watching him closely, and just wasn't keen to go near anyone and go up and man the mark, and sort of, it's hard to describe, but it was terrible to see.
Well, if that was a senior player, you'd have major concerns. This is a young man that's still finding his way. And you and I looked at each other saying, it's out of disappointment and frustration. It's not out over, turning your toes up and not wanting to compete. You just get so down.
Simpkin was hunting a ball, had a couple of Swans to beat. Davies-Uniacke got it up off the ground. Greenwood, a long time held in the tackle by McInerney, but spun out of it. No mark taken, 25 metres out. Could that be in the back?
You're right.
2 44s combined in Lloyd.
The runner Brett Harvey went out of his way to speak to Horn Francis, who then said, go back into the middle. They've kicked Luke Davies-Uniacke out, and he's shaking his head saying, why? What have I done?
Tom McCartan, the end of a handball that he gave to Papley, who rushes the kick out of defensive 50. Young did well to fist it away from Heaney. Lazaro was held, I would have thought. The umpire didn't agree with me. Objection overruled. Coming out of defensive 50. Hall now, the recipient of the turnover rather than the provider. Chance for North Melbourne to go back inside forward 50 again. They trail by 46 points with a minute 47 to play. And Hall's given it straight to a red and white jumper again. Paddy McCartan takes the mark. Or the free kick, take your pick.
That's what he's done all year, Paddy McCartan. I'm happy to put my hand up. I wasn't sure. I didn't think it would work for him down back. I was just worried he wouldn't be agile enough, but just reads the ball so well. His intercepting ability is superb.
7th in the comp in that particular safety
well
skill
done,
shed
Paddy.
stat. Josh Jenkins.
Was wrong about Paddy McCartan.
Horn Francis has won the ball back for North Melbourne on the outer wing, inboard along the top line of the square for Greenwood, cruising past and getting the handball received was Davies-Uniacke. Larky with 5 goals to his name, had the second bite taken away from Taylor. Ziebel, a hurried kick. Comes off hand with Zerha threatening. Rampy was desperate as he so
gives
often
nothing
is.
away. Just gives nothing away, Rampy. Earn everything.
45 points the Swans lead with 54 seconds to play. Makita rule the outdoors clock on the Victoria Police assistance line scoreboard. Lloyd, that kick needs to get there quickly to Tom McCartan. It did in front of Lazaro. Fox runs his full measure coming out of defensive 50 to centre half forward. That kick was exquisite for the lead of Heaney, who was leading across the top of the arc of 50. Options inboard, but he's going to stick it out wide to Parker. 49 metres out, he takes the mark in front of Greenwood. Clean sweep of the Brett Kirk medals this year. Checks the kick, hooks it around on the 90-degree. Warner unattended. Taylor didn't go with him. And Warner takes the mark 44 metres out on a better than 45 angle.
They had enough bodies back. Only 5 players weren't in the defensive 50, but just the spacing and the team defensive system broke down.
Warner steps inside the arc for his third on the siren. It fades late to the left. So they have from there 29 shots at goal. Sydney have 14, 15, 99. North Melbourne 8, 5, 53. So a 46-point lead for the Swans. At the final change on the scoreboard for Victoria Police assistance line, AFL Nation, Sam Hargraves, Josh Jenkins, Nick Dalsano for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for Tyre Safety, and for Macca's, catch a £1/4 range meal at Macca's today.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Victoria Police. Use the police assistance line for non-urgent situations.
Hello, bank.
Hi, I've got a home loan with you and I just saw you've dropped your rate. I'd like it too.
Not going to happen.
Why not?
Because it wouldn't be fair to us.
It's unfair new customers are getting much better rates than me.
Ask me the secret to getting a good rate.
What's the secret to getting...
Timing!
Hilarious.
It never gets old.
Athena's the first Aussie lender not to penalise you for your loyalty. See our automatic rate match promise at athena.com.au. Athena, love us and leave us. Standard credit criteria, terms, conditions and government charges apply.
If you've been injured at work, you should seek legal advice. Arnold, Thomas and Becker can advise on all your compensation entitlements, which could be in the hundreds of thousands. The team have over 50 years' experience in securing compensation for injured workers. Talk directly to an Arnold Thomas & Becker lawyer and start your claim today. And if there's no win, there's no fee. Call 1300 333 300.
Never before in business history has the combination of hygiene, cleaning and recycling been more important. COVID changed everything and businesses need to trust their cleaning suppliers more than ever. So place your trust in Icon Services Australia, a market leader for commercial cleaning, hygiene and recycling services. Naming rights sponsor of Icon Park, the home of Carlton Football Club and AFLW. For a complete integrated solution for commercial cleaning and more, get Icon Services Australia into your business. iconservices.com.au.
Looking for a flooring solution to suit your lifestyle? The Abode Hybrid Collection is both stylish and resistant to spills, stains, scuffs and water. Abode is available in a wide range of beautiful natural timber colours and styles, and its quality and ease of installation make it the perfect choice for busy households. Abode is only available from Choices Flooring, so visit your nearest Choices Flooring store or head to choicesflooring.com.au to see why Abode is the perfect choice for your lifestyle.
Campbell Brown here with Andrew Shea, CEO of Builders Academy. Andrew, Builders Academy have won multiple training awards recently. Tell me, what's the secret?
Thanks, Brownie. We're really proud to have added over 8,000 graduates. We offer online, classroom-based and worksite training, and most of our students are able to study with subsidies from the Victorian Government. We're really proud of our industry-leading completion rates and the outcomes we help our students achieve to become registered building legends.
Thanks, Andrew. Get in touch with Builders Academy on 1300 Legend.
RTO 21583.
How does a work van become a brilliant business asset? This was the question keeping Hyundai on their toes. After a lot of late nights, we had our answer. The Hyundai Staria Load. It fits in everything you need for work, including next-gen tech, a 5-star ANCAP safety, and platinum crash avoidance rating. The Hyundai Staria Load from $47,990 drive away for ABN holders. T's and C's apply. Visit Hyundai.com.au. Imagine that. Hyundai.
Shirley bought car insurance awarded for being very cheap. But come claim time, Shirley realised that choosing a bargain can end up being very, very expensive. Yes, this is the sound of bargain regret. Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does.
Lucky you're with Amy.
Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you. TMD also available.
Bring some excitement to game day with Big Screen Video, Australia's digital display experts. We're giving 10 lucky sports clubs the chance to win a $10,000 grant towards their own LED scoreboard. Register now at iCanWin.com.au/BSB. T&Cs apply. See website for details.
Which oil keeps your business moving? Farmers and fleet managers, they know. Construction crews and car mechanics, they know. And you know. Valvoline, the original engine oil.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Oh, Franklin buried Simpkin in a tackle. Opens the door for Florent. Little give Warner. Little dinker, vacant goal square. They continue to scuff around with it coming out of the fence north, and they are made to pay. Luke Davies-Uniacke.
It's a good option.
Yeah, followed the advice of that man in the crowd. Kick it in, and he does go inboard to Powell. Here's Hall on the burst. Now he realises that every time he's trying to be cute, he turns it over. So he just says, I'll bring out the one wood and drop a bomb from outside 50 and go straight to the bench. Franklin in left forward pocket. Hayward might have got a hand on that. Franklin arcs around. On the right! Franklin on the right, rarest rocking horse, you know what. But he's come back inboard in the left forward pocket and kicked a goal of the game.
Macca's I'm Loving It moments. Grab a creme brulee pie for just $1.50.
Hard to find a moment we've loved more than Buddy snapping on the right for Macca's. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today. Pretty dominant quarter in the end, 6-3 to Sydney. Opens up a 46-point lead. We're up in the combox for Coates. We're more than high. We're equipped for anything. Josh Jenkins, Nick Del Santo, the opening bounce for Tyre Power. Your match day favourites for tyre safety. At the moment, on percentage, they are 0.1 of a percentage point adrift of Melbourne in third, Sydney on the live ladder. That's probably the most important part of what's to unfold in this final quarter. We'll get your thoughts in a minute. In fact, we'll do it now as North Melbourne's brief foray forward is chopped off and the mark taken by Lloyd at left half back.
So from a Sydney Swans perspective, I wouldn't be mentioning percentage. If I was John Longmire, I'd be talking about closing this game out and having a really solid last 30 minutes. If I'm the Kangas, I'm talking about winning the quarter. Just win the quarter. Let's get something going for us on this day.
Ramp the counter-attack. Hickey all alone on the outer wing. Stevenson applied very little pressure on the mark, so Hickey could play on. The kick really didn't do any favours to Clark, who's had to take it on the bounce. He gave it inboard to Hayward, who was body out of play, but ball possibly in. The boundary umpire said, no, both of you have gone out.
It is.
And body. And
it's a good call, Dale, because particularly from North Melbourne's perspective, because it's teetering. As I said at the start of the game, when you play teams who are struggling and you are on your way to finals footy, you can smell, you can taste the blood, you can just get the scent of it. And Sydney could easily kick 8 goals in this last term if North aren't up for it.
So Curtis accepted the handball. Larkin was in a one-on-one, dragged off it. Yeah, that kick was there every day of the week and twice on Sundays, which today is. And he's probably had about 3 free kicks now in front of goal.
A few of them as well today, Sammy. A couple of them have been a little bit dubious, but that one was absolutely there.
Tom McCartan beside himself in disappointment. 45 metres out, just to the left of directly in front. Larky's got 5 goals in this game for Safety Steel Shed stats. So bring it back to 40 points. They've kicked the first goal of the second, third, and now maybe the fourth quarters. Larky steps just inside the arc. It's a good finish. Good finish. It's been a good day for him. I think his best in his career is 7.
Yeah, he got a 7 against the Dogs.
He's done that twice.
We'll have a look for you, Sam.
Thank you, Safety Steel Shed stats. He's got 6 now. It's a good day at the office. Started the day with 29 goals for the year. It now has 35 for the season.
6 is a good day at the office, make no mistake about it.
Better than good, isn't it? I probably undersold that. I oversold the Anderson mark and I've undersold the 6 goals.
6 is a very nice day you have.
And he's not done yet. He's kicked 7 once and 6 once. He's got a few bags of 5. So he's already chalked up some big bags, considering how young he is. He kicked 7 against the Blues in round 19 last year.
9-5-59 North Melbourne after Larky's 6. 14-15. 99 are the Swans for Icon Services Solutions that matter. Icon Services, commercial cleaning and integrated property solutions. Back in the middle, Hickey a good fist, gained about 15 metres. Greenwood slipped at crucial time. Warner did not. Accelerates away like a Corvette amongst Cortinas and bounces through his 3rd. From 50. From a young man who's having a career best year. He comes up big, Nick Dalsano, in stats that I think we widely consider as the most important when it comes to metres game, when it comes to inside 50, score involvements and goal assists.
He is an incredible player. Just watching on the replay screen, that's a 50-50 ball at a centre square bounce. He hits it at pace. Now, most players would just get that ball forward, as Jai Simpkin is chasing it and giving a legitimate chase. He backs his pace in. He extends the distance by about 5 metres, then steadies in, just slightly kicks out on the outside of his preferred foot.
It's clever, isn't it?
That's a great finish.
He's a way, way, way better player than I thought he was.
Yeah.
Way better.
Debuted in 2020 from East Fremantle.
Still rocking the lemon rinse. I think it's a brilliant setup.
Yep. Hurried kick inside forward 50. It broke right, broke left on Buddy. Invaded him. Young was rolled. Reed came up with it and couldn't connect with Heaney. Young just jams it onto the right boot and it takes a 90-degree break to the left. Mills in no real rush to keep it in. Right half forward for the Swans, who are kicking to the city end. It's your right radio speaker. We will have it thrown in for Snaffle bite-sized payments win.
Apollo 33's 33. His footwear's looks a little strange. The black and orange. I've never seen that.
Haywood looked for some teammates inboard and then just slapped it on the right slipper. Couldn't get any curl on the snap and it hit the right point post on the full. Out of bounds on. Around the grounds, Kangan Institute 1-3 TAFE. They've got going at the Gabba, 1 behind for Carlton, the only score. In fact, the Lions have just scored the opening goal, so an early 5-point lead to Brisbane. Stevenson.
Up to 25 disposals, Safety Steel Shed numbers.
Wearing Wayne Schwass's old number 2. Young took a good mark under some pressure from Heaney at right half back.
Luke Parker's had 26. For the Sydney Swans, the next best is Rowbottom, who's had 19.
So they're just
where are you going to go?
Going a slow build-up here. They retreat to 25 out for an offensive goal. McDonald to Walker. Stevenson spreads to left half-back. Bailey Scott.
Good work rate from Scott, but no one else is doing the same.
Yeah, and Sydney were first to move. That's why Scott's now held up on the near half-back flank with absolutely nowhere to go.
Paul wanted him to switch again. I think even Bailey Scott said, no,
that's
people
the risk.
will
There's
rightly
the risk.
want to leave.
Yep.
They turn it over just in front of the circles. Spreading down to his left-hand side. Lloyd threads the needle by hand for the run of Blakey. Has he got enough on this? All the way to the line. Josh Walker did well. Wasn't going to be out-muscled by Reid and took the intercept grab. Blakey probably just didn't get full purchase on that attempt. McDonald coming out of defence. That is a brilliant kick. Just across the body. Drop punt to Goldstein, who plays on around Hickey on the mark, defensive side of the broadcast wing, and desperate is Paddy McCartan. A diving fist to see the ball out of play in front of Curtis.
You speak about the skill set of what an intercept defender needs, Josh, and I get your point about what you said. But he positions himself so well. He takes out the vulnerability if he does have a deficiency in the agility stakes. He just reads it so well.
Anderson fires North Melbourne.
And they're as brave as hell. Those brothers, they are kamikaze brave at
Tom's
times.
turn to backpedal and get in front of the leading Larkey and get a defensive fist
That
on
was
that.
Larkey was half a step away from it. Just
now Larkey's got a limp up.
Ending his day
noticeable
there.
limp up.
Happy to be sitting up here.
Andrew Update with snaffle, bite-sized payments win. Goldstein trying to get it to Zerha, flashing past, going towards the corridor. The ball ricochets off a few sets of feet and goes outside of North Melbourne's 40-50. Zerha overran it. Mills a clean pick-up. He was hit hard in a tackle by Horn Francis. Warner taken the ground in the tackle and held the ball for too long. Taylor, in fact, it was Simpkin that got him, and Simpkin's been rewarded for the tackle. Just going to load this up, top of the square, you'd think. That's where he goes. He lays it up, hoping for Zeeble to come on to. Paddy McCartan, strong fist, got about 20 metres on it. Anderson hunting the ball that he's bumped off. Clean handball, Luke Davies-Uniacke. Same for Powell, and facing goal. Anderson spreads to 49 metres out on a 45 angle and finds Simpkin.
Not sure if he's got the journey from here. I reckon he's going to have to force the man on the mark to be stationary, and he's going to wheel out to that right side to gain a couple of extra metres.
Just a lazy 41 disposals in the loss to Essendon last week for Simpkin.
It's a lot of football.
It's substantial.
A lot of football.
And he's on the runway now. From just inside 50, it'll take everything that he's got. It gets all the way to the line and comes off hands.
Nick Del Santo.
He did beautifully for buymystock.com.au.
Paid him twice.
Del Santo, Josh Jenkins.
What a feeling it was Paul Curtis that actually touched that on the line trying to take a specky.
Paul Curtis to put the pressure on Blakey. His kick, lovely handbrake U-turn from McInerney to slip the Powell tackle. Blakey had run on and got absolutely ironed out like tomorrow.
They're after him.
And they go after the fight's on. You watch the fight, I'll watch the play. To Papley on the arc of 50. There's a bit going on here. Papley, the option is Franklin on a searching lead. Straight into the outstretched mitts of Bud, who can go back and shoot for number 3. And it is still happening.
One of the Swan, I think, was it Callum Mills, just went after him.
So Zerha bump on the Lizard was perfectly fine as he was distributing the football. He absolutely bowled him over, but the Swans came for him instantly, 2 of them at a time.
Mills is still going at Zerha. In the meantime, Franklin,
he doesn't care,
from 40 metres out. He's too old for that nonsense, the Bud. He had the finger up when the ball was halfway through its journey. He's got 3.
They're still into it.
Yeah, it's still happening back in the middle. So Franklin's got 3.
That group of players hasn't realised there's been a goal kicked. Let's have a look on the replay screen.
Strong bump on the replay for Easy Debit. Join Easy Debit today.
He's lucky there was no head clash. Yeah. But it's a fine bump, providing there's no head clash. And
Mills went after him, but I think North Melbourne, I don't know who the player was that got there and got Mills when he was trying to get Zerha.
He's been bowled over from the side. I didn't see that initially.
There's a bit to sort of... Buddy's hit 3-3 for safety, still shed stats.
Might be a few fines too come out of it, which is always just pleasant on a Monday when the football manager comes and says...
It's a good kick from Papley too.
Did you just sing out the credit card numbers? You owe $1,200 to head office.
Papley's another who was going into this game equal fifth with Warner for goal assist in the comp. Warren Francis takes the ball running away from goal, turns back around, rifles out to handball towards the broadcast wing. Bailey Scott couldn't take it. Rowbottom could. His handball didn't find a target. Simpkin coming through now. Coleman Jones, a little give to the run of Young. Backpedaling into the left forward pocket is Curtis. Good backpedaling work from Blakey as well to get a fist on that. The ball's out of play, about 35 around from the left point post inside North Melbourne's forward 50.
I was involved in a game a long time ago against Port Adelaide, the old footy park, and I ran past two fights, one in the second quarter, one in the third quarter that I wasn't involved in, didn't start, but I better join in. Got a tap on the shoulder saying, $4.5 grand on a Monday.
Anderson hurried kick right to the line, and Larkey lunging took the mark cleanly inside the field of play, half a metre out.
Don't, Nick.
In front of the right goal post.
Take your time here.
Now, by the way, with that Franklin goal, Sydney got up into third. Their percentage 128.9, Melbourne's 128.8. I wonder if this Larkey goal actually puts them back to fourth. We'll have to wait and see.
With 13 to play.
It's a 51-point margin at the moment.
For his seventh.
Oh, he goes a check side for number 7. Equal career high for Nick Larkey. 7 snags for that man. Brilliant individual night, afternoon for Nick Larkey. Margin is back to 45 points on the scoreboard for Icon Services Solutions at Matter.
He's forcing our hand because he's in the mix for the Henley Holmes Build with Confidence Player of the Day. He's got 7. How many do you need to kick in a loss,
I reckon,
to be the best player on the ground?
8.
Good call,
He
Nick.
needs at least one more, because at the moment I haven't quite got him over the line.
That's a good call, Nick.
But I think he needs one more to be genuinely in the conversation.
And I think that's accurate.
I hope he gets
Actually,
up.
I know it's accurate.
Just to force us into a really tough decision. So he's kicked 7. Bud's got 3-3. Warner's got 3-2. Papley 3. And Heaney 2 goals 1. He's been 7 out of 10, Nick Larkey.
He's playing a lone hand inside forward 50. Mills on the skid by Goulden, who just got a little kick to squeeze inside forward 50 of Warner. That's a clean gather. He fired out the handball to his right-hand side. Heaney with his back to goal. Mills had come on. Mills with a little bit of leverage to snap from 45. Just got too much curl. And a behind.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, it's a 46-point lead.
He's not looking.
Franklin has come, sharked the kick from the kick-in. Stevenson, a gift with a bow wrapped around it for Franklin to kick his 4th. We'll have to have a look at this. I was penciling the score in the book. A short option again, looking for McDonald. Stevenson with his hand on his head, and McDonald even said to him, don't worry about that. Go on and try and apply a smother on a man running directly at you.
I feel bad. I mean, I feel bad for Stevenson there, because people are going to show that and say, look at the lack of care.
It wasn't lack of care. He was just so flattered himself for missing the kick.
Look at that. It's not great. I mean, he's got to describe it. He's got his back to Franklin, who intercepts it and running right towards him. And Franklin realises he's not concentrating and runs closer.
Turned his back.
But it wasn't I don't give a stuff. It was just he was devastated with what he'd done.
The replay for Easy Debit for Simple Payment Solutions. Join Easy Debit today. Reed now extracts it out of the middle. Long and strong over the back of the head of the contest. McDonald now. That's very, very clever. Running towards the left point post. Very little daylight. Trickles it through on the outside of the right, and he's got 2 now.
They're all getting involved.
Melbourne had gone back up into third. I reckon that goal might put Sydney back up into third.
And there's still time. There's still 12 minutes to go. And as I said, this could get up to 75, 80 points, because Sydney are smelling a real kill here, and the Roos are getting more and more distraught just around the grounds for Kangan Institute 1-3 TAFE. The Lions 1 straight 6. Carlton just the one behind. 11 minutes into the first term. The beast, Reece Matheson, was just involved in a little scuffle. And West Coast and Adelaide not far away. The last game for the great Josh Kennedy. We'll kick a few.
52 points is the Sydney lead for Icon Services Solutions. That matter. North Melbourne will get this clear at Dawson. Coming off half-back. Low kick inside forward 50. Blakey on the second bite. Falling to ground. Takes an impressive mark. A little stab past bottom left-hand corner of the square. Stevens. Forward handball to the run of Lloyd.
Picking him
Lloyd,
apart now.
lovely. Happily on a long lead, takes it 55 out. Not into his outstretched hands now. Papley's going to square it up 35 metres out. It was punched away from Parker by Lazaro. Umpires found a free kick here, and I think it's going to Stevens against Greenwood.
It might be. It is.
In the marking contest, or was it?
Well, they were coming into forward 50 as the kick did. From the opposite
a little
angle,
clip around the ear. Yeah, it's just a little clip around the ear.
Was it Simpkin? Was
It was Simpkin that gave away the free
It was
kick.
subtle, but it was there.
So Stevens has got 3 goals from his 9 games this year. From directly in front. He'll kick from 45 to make it 58 points.
They're into third, though.
They are. 129.3 their percentage. Melbourne's 128.8.
0.5 as it currently stands. He was not going short there.
No, he's gone very long from the goal square kick in. Franklin almost falling to the ground, took the mark. It sat nicely for Stevens to put a handball inside forward 50. Clever tap from Papley.
Oh.
Well sharked. Mills has drilled Simpkin and they go for Mills.
That was a free shot. It was fair. It was a tackle from behind. That was a free shot on me.
Oh, and the neck would be sore. Whiplash.
Yep.
Couldn't protect himself. Done well to stand up, Jai Simpkin there.
Straight away,
That's tough
too.
as nails, that is. He got absolutely
To left
smashed
half
from
back
behind.
McDonald. Low dart to a tumbling Powell. Still at left half back. Now he's going to retreat to 25 out. Sydney fans as Stevenson goes short to a lead up of Simpkin. Now bottom right hand point of the square. Taylor takes the mark. Thought about giving it in midair to Powell coming past. Goulden was right on his hammer. So we've got just over 10 minutes to play. Makita rule the outdoors clock. Leading up at the footy, Horn Francis still defensive side of the broadcast wing. In no rush at all, Horn Francis. Now, Buddy could have really put a fair bit of body on Horn Francis. He pulled out the last moment, left half forward. Coleman Jones tried to fend off the Reed tackle. He's able to get hands free and handball it onto the arc of 50 where Taylor was there. He gave it back to Zeeble. Now, the target was Horn Francis, but Young put his hand up to take the mark. Horn Francis swoops on the loose ball. Quick kick out of the corner of his eye. He spied Taylor, 49 out, about 6 metres in from the boundary. Taylor, the lead coming from Zerha. They set up so well defensively in Sydney. In the hole was Paddy McCartan.
Just angles and space, as Dell called before. Paddy McCartan just knows where to stand, and he makes you make something unbelievable happen to beat him.
You think about what McGovern does at West Coast at his very best. It's all about positioning, reading the flight of the ball, and then being able to take really good intercept marks. That's what Paddy McCartan's capable of.
Luke Parker, 26 safety, still shed stats now, but he's got the 7 tackles too for Toro. Count on Toro to get the job done. Toro count on the tackler of the day. He's got 7. Errol Goulden's got the 6 for Toro. So we've got a ball up just backward to right half forward for North Melbourne. Coleman Jones slaps it goalward. Simpkin collects and is collected by Parker. The handball that squeezed out was taken by McInerney. He gave it to Parker. Hayward running away from goal. Drops a handball over the head of Dawson. Turning it around the body was Parker. No one there, and the ball landed except for Josh Walker for North Melbourne.
Lack of movement. It's not a North Melbourne player moving for Josh Walker. Back down the line we go.
So the pack forms easily dealt with by Paddy McCartan. Sinks 5 knuckles into that. Ball out of play at right half forward. We'll have a boundary throw in for Snaffle. Bite-sized payments win. 8:23 left in the quarter. It feels like it's been going a while, this one.
And it's got a fair while to go too. I think both sides are pretty happy. Sydney are happy to get on the jet and go home, and Kangas are pretty happy to head off too, I think.
Game high 59 points. Coleman Jones took it out of the ruck. Double-handed drop. Through luck or design, I'm not sure, but it does land in the lap of Curtis, who's a couple of metres in from the boundary, right where the 50 meets it. Arcs around now, left, goes to the top of the square. Zeeble just getting enough on it. Stevens coming through. Luke Davies-Uniacke soccers it through from point-blank range, margin back to 53 points. Luke Davies-Uniacke has had a brilliant second half of this season, hasn't given up all game.
Yeah, it's been good. Been good. 25 disposals and a goal. He's had the 4 tackles, 4 clearances, so been rock solid again today. Just continues to show more burst and more run as well, and he can continue to keep refining his kicking around the ground. It will just continue to take him to higher levels than what he's already reached. He's borderline elite midfielder, I think, particularly for a young player on the way up. So it's had another good day at the office. He and Simpkin have both been really admirable. I think they've got the makings of a nice centre bounce crew. They probably need to find a few more, but Simpkin and Davies-Uniacke are 1-2 punch at ground level. They get good supply from Goldstein. Cherry, when he was in there, Coleman Jones is able to follow up and get involved, and Hugh Greenwood can be that big-bodied midfielder who goes to the opposition's target.
So 53 points. Sydney almost out of the middle. Hickey's handball was taken by Simpkin. Bottom left-hand corner of the square, Lazaro squirts a kick forward, finds the chest of Zerha just inside forward 50.
Oh.
What are you seeing, JJ?
Rampy's physicality down in the goal square. Larky's had enough. He's just
that's going to be downfield. There's number 8.
There's another free kick.
Larky's going to go back and shoot for 8. And if
says I'll have a ping, and if it goes through, I might get it.
And if Nick Dalsano and Josh Jenkins are true to their word, well, this will wrap him up the player of the day. For Henley Home, filled with confidence.
Those 3 Sydney Swan players I had for 3-2-1.
It's a free kick and a 50. I don't think that free kick was in the goal square.
Lloyd put a shoulder into the back of Larky after Rampy was giving him what for. Larky has got 8.
Wow.
Bit of sunshine on a dark day for North Melbourne. When they celebrate the 96 flag, they've been in it in fits and spurts in this game, but that is a phenomenal performance from Nick Larky.
There's another free kick.
And the free kick was for the 50 to the downfield, so the secondary was taken by Zerha. He slams it through for a couple in a row, and the Swans might have just, and I think have, dropped themselves out of top 3.
Can you just educate me and everybody about why they get a secondary? That ball was still live.
I can't help you, Nick. You know
Sam,
I like
Are you in on this?
I'm going to have to Google. I mean, someone's going to have to get me the rule book.
I think I know most rules in the game, but when the ball is
search Twitter for us.
The ball's 50 metres out in the hands of Cam Zerha. It's a downfield free, which was the right call.
Yeah.
Nick Larky takes that free kick, kicks it, and
which
then
is the wrong call for a start, because the 50 would have taken. Isn't it 50 or isn't it the larger penalty? So shouldn't.
But it goes to where the penalty was paid, which gives Nick Larky the goal. But then why does Cam Zerha get a secondary?
There must have been something said, which I don't know if you can get it right. Look, let's just agree that we have no idea what just happened.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing we have agreed on all day, that we've got no idea what's just gone on. Goulden had one hand claimed, but was able to get boot to ball. McDonald reclaims it for North Melbourne. Lazaro leads Hayward on a merry dance, and then put McDonald into more trouble than police informed.
You've got to love it from the Swans.
Well, they're in 4th now. They're 0.5 a percentage point behind Melbourne. I normally feel like I'm pretty au fait on the rules, but I'm pretty in the dark on that one. A wobbling kick down the line of the broadcast wing for North Melbourne. Larky just couldn't get that ball to pop up. And the ball goes out of play in front of the Swans interchange. How long have we got left here? 6:53 on the clock for McKee to rule the outdoors.
If Larky kicks 9, I promise you I'll give him 3.
8 should.
9's the number.
47 points is the lead for Sydney. Simpkin from the restart. Rampy went the double fist and fisted it back towards North Melbourne's goal, and then he kicked it off the ground, and North will ask the question, did he deliberately rush that? And they will say it was an error rather than
Larky's had a few
intentional.
So we can't give him that one.
How many of his 8 have been from free kicks?
4, I think.
I'd like to still shed stats.
Not to discredit him.
No. 8 is 8. How prophetic's that? Captain Obvious. Icon Services Solutions that Matter scoreboard. Good mark taken by Hayward. Got a nice little side hip ride on Goldstein, which actually stopped Goldstein from jumping at the footy because he jumped early, Hayward. Right half back. Thought about the handball to Lloyd. Now just drives it down the line. Heaney got worked underneath it. Hickey was the secondary option coming in, and he took the mark. Plays on. Just levelled it out low into the right forward pocket. Core. Reed claims him. Umpire crosses arms in the right forward pocket, about 15 out. The 45 angle from the Sydney goal will have it tossed up. 125 plays 79. Goldstein paddled it towards the Sydney goal. Looked for the high contact. Umpire kept the whistle away on Mcdonald. Heaney took it out of Goldstein's hands and was taken to ground. They file in on top. We'll have it tossed up from the exact same spot again. So the live ladder has the Swans in fourth. Hickey couldn't back away from the contest and take the ball with him. Melbourne inch it forward. Lazaro tackled by Hayward. Couldn't get a clean handball out. And we'll have another ball up this time. Still on that 45 angle, but about 25 out.
2-4-16 the Lions. Carlton only the one behind for Kenyon Institute. Very tough around the grounds.
Goldstein shoveled out a little handball as he was tackled by Hayward. Anderson taken to ground by Goulden. Davey Zuniak found it and quickly gave it to Stevenson. A hurried kick, exits offensive 50, but got it fisted back in. Rowbottom on the end of a handball. He tried to just poke it inboard to Clark, and it was slapped away in midair. Now on the counter-attack, North Melbourne. Coleman Jones, clever to Simpkin. There's a whistle. And it's going to Coleman Jones, who might have got one high. He quickly plays on to Anderson. The handball didn't really do him any favours. His spread's even wider. Well, that's a great mark taken. Got a ride on the hip of Stevens. Did Taylor hit the ground, running into the left forward pocket. The target was Larkey. McDonald killed the contest, fisted it over for a minor score.
That's good effort from McDonald. He must be, I think he's having a run in the ruck because Reed and Hickey are on the ground and he was the deepest tall, so he must be having a run in the ruck, or he's just found himself deep in defence.
So 45 points is the Swans' lead on the scoreboard for Icon Service. Hayward, that is another strong claim and strong grab in the marking contest with Stevens right there. So along the broadcast wing, Tom McCartan accepts the handball receive. His kick was well read in flight by Davey Zuniak, who chopped it off in front of Goulden. Still defensive side of the near wing. Just the required, slightly more inboard to Powell. Plays on and probes it inside forward 50. Zerha got bumped underneath the footy. It was well done by Tom McCartan. Plays on quickly at right half back Hayward. 45-point Sydney lead. Bottom left-hand point of the square. Mills to the run of Florent. Florent, a penetrating kick to Heaney in a one-on-one. Clark offhand. Clever slap to the advantage of McDonald. McDonald sees the vacant goal square. His eyes light up. They were bigger than the belly. Just went to the right. Scores from turnover, 8-8-56. The Swans have kicked from turnover, 3-3 North Melbourne.
Thought it would have been more, to be honest. Still 16 scoring shots.
That's hit the ground, yep.
Dawson has got to play on quickly. Greenwood there, flashing through, coming the other way was Scott. He's able to weave around. They spread to right half back. Young, Heaney just didn't commit at him. Young now tries to draw Heaney and does. He was able to effect the kick that wobbles its way, though, onto the chest of Zeeble. Well, now here's the drive-by run of Goldstein, who wants it back from Anderson. Anderson, forward handball, 55 out. Simpkin, that's good vision. Quickly turned and saw that Taylor had a mismatch on Tom McCartan. McCartan was looking to come off him to go help with what he thought the intended target was, and Taylor kept searching out to the fat side and was rewarded. So from about 25 out on a 45 angle, he can go back and put the margin 40 points. Taylor, very good set shot finish. Splits the middle. And they haven't given up on this, North Melbourne. They haven't put the cue in the Rackdale, which is something that they can be proud of. Yes, the margin is 40 points for Icon Services Solutions that matter, but the way that Sydney started off this term, you thought, oh, it's going to get it real ugly real fast.
Well, it hasn't been an effort issue. It's been an execution concern, both in attack and defence, and at different times around the contest as well. Just the ability to read the play, back in your teammate and make the right decision off the back of that. But this is a nice finish. And Taylor hasn't had a huge influence on the day. Been working up and down the wings at times have been playing out a half forward as he currently is right now. He's up to 23 disposals. It's been a solid performance, but it feels like one of those days. They've all worked extremely hard without a great deal of reward.
They're winning the quarter too.
That's what we spoke about, didn't we? 3/4 time.
Yep.
There's a little tick.
So 2.5 minutes to play. Makita Rulli outdoors clock. Swans still in fourth. Luke Davies-Uniacke will fan it out wide to Powell. Powell sizzles the kick in and couldn't find the target. Anderson found it off the deck and was slung in a tackle. Zeeble had to wait for the handball. In fact, it was Horn Francis and Rowbottom got him. And 40 out from North Melbourne's goal. We'll have it thrown up.
It'll be difficult for Larky to get his ninth because he's on the bench.
What's he thinking?
Just hacking it out of mid-air. A lot of shoe on that. Did Lloyd. Hayward couldn't take the mark. Ball pinging around quickly to Luke Davies-Uniacke, who off a step pulls the trigger. Pushes it to the left-hand side for a behind. So now it's under 40. 39 points is the margin. So the Swans would have come here with a job of getting back in the four. They've done that, but they're now 1.1% percentage point inside third position. Melbourne hold that currently. Sydney out to the far side wing. McInerney wanted inboard but thought better of it. Just the forward handball. It's McDonald who gave it back to McInerney, who scrounged to kick along the ground. Stevenson bumped off it by Clark. Ball going nowhere. Inside the attacking half still for North Melbourne. Clock says 1:33 to play for Makita Rulli outdoors on AFL Nation with Tyre Power and for Maccas.
Buddy and Papley just getting a rub on the hamstrings. Just a cool-down massage by the looks of things.
Davies-Uniacke tried to get it going off the ground, so tripped over. Ball trickled out to play it right half forward for the Roos. Goals from stoppage, 9 goals apiece, but 9-8 to 9-1 in favour of Sydney. Safety still shed stats. It's an area of their game that they are pretty competitive in North Melbourne as Hickey took it out of the ruck and turned it around the body on the left.
And in particular, the centre square bounce has been really pleasing at times this afternoon from a Kangas perspective.
The world of pain, the Blues. 4:6:30 to 1 behind. Lions are up and about. 20 seconds to go in the first term.
It's been a 5-goal-to-3 term on the scoreboard for Icon Services, solutions that matter. North for inside forward 50 again. Zerha walking the tightrope, right forward pocket. Just getting an important fist on that in front of Taylor. It was Paddy McCartan, and Swans have got numbers at the fall of the ball. Hayward need to be clean by hand to Tom. Cavalry have arrived. Dawson a good tackle to drag McCartan off it. That was Tom. Opens the door for Taylor. Just got slicing motion on that left foot kick, and the ball goes out of bounds on the full. They did well to win that footy back, the Roos. It could have been a lot uglier, this scoreboard, if Sydney had a kick straight, though. I mean, they've never really looked like they were going to lose this game. 18-18. It's been a comprehensive performance from them.
Goldie.
Did not hear Goldstein coming to Tom McCartan. And he came a long, long way, did Goldie, to apply that run-down tackle. When I say run-down, Tom McCartan was stationary, looking for some handball options. And Goldstein can go back. The margin back to 33 points. So it's been a 20-point turnaround since the Swans were 53 points up midway through this final quarter. Goldstein from 45, and that didn't look good when it left the boot. And there is a siren, so Swans back into the top 4 at the expense of the Lions, but for how long? Brisbane at the moment playing Carlton around the ground for Kangan Institute 1-3 TAFE. Swans win by 39 points.
Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
13-10-88 North Melbourne. Sydney, though, 18-18, 126. In the end, it was actually a 38-point win to to the Swans, make that 39. The scoreboard just having a hard time adjusting at the moment. I have to have a check of the scores. I think there's a few that I don't know if they went up or didn't. But the Swans did what they needed to do. And they, for the time being, are up into fourth. But that percentage could play a big part.
Honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high. Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
So it is a 38-point win to Sydney in the end. Apologies for me stuffing up that score at the end there, but a 38-point win. So they were for a time up into third, which if Brisbane win would have meant that Melbourne go out of the four and Sydney stay in, but they are fourth for the time being with Brisbane and Carlton playing at the moment. We don't have a whole lot of time to wrap up this one.
Okay.
So
do you have to talk to the host broadcaster?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you're dusty.
What did you spy at the end of the game, Nick
Well,
Dalsano?
that's what I was looking at. The Fox Footy went instantly, the host broadcaster went instantly to Buddy Franklin to pose some questions. Now, Bud wasn't best on ground today, so I'm tipping a few of those questions weren't necessarily aligned with today's performance. As good as he was, he wasn't dreadful by any stretch, but just caught my eye about who they went to because I don't have him in my votes currently stand. But it was a good performance. Actually, just during that last quarter, felt like the life had gone out of the game a bit, and at some stage in that last quarter felt like the Sydney Swans were doing just what they needed to do to get by, knowing they had a comfortable victory, opposed to speaking like we were, and it was all about percentage and where they could finish this round. But
now, speaking of percentage, I had the live ladder option picked on the ladder still. So just to clarify what I was speaking about earlier, Sydney are into fourth. They are 127.5. Melbourne are 128.8 in third. Now, Brisbane are 123.3. I had the live ladder feature selected, and at the moment the Lions are leading 30-1 against Carlton. So that's a big lead early for them. That's quarter time at the Gabba. But they are a game out of top four. So they would have to have a massive, massive win to jump back to make up that 4.2 percentage points from the Sydney Swans. So apologies for the confusion there. That is 100% my fault. I had the live ladder feature selected when I was looking at where Brisbane were at. So at the moment, Sydney are in fourth position, depending on what happens with Brisbane and Carlton this afternoon on AFL Nation. Let's start going through our awards on our post-game show for Coates. We're more than high. We're equipped for anything. The final score, if you need Victoria Police but not the sirens, call the Police Assistance Line 131 444 13 10 88 North Melbourne, 18 8 126 were Sydney. So 38 points was the winning margin. Who was the rookie of the day, please? Josh Jenkins or Nick Dalsano for MEGT, local apprenticeship experts?
I never even know who's eligible for this thing.
I'm exactly the same as Josh, but I'm going to go with Horne-Francis because I know he was drafted last year. He had the 13 disposals. We spoke about him a lot today, and he's a young man still learning his craft, and that's perfectly fine.
Paul Curtis, left footer. He's only played
14 games. I just wasn't quite sure what year he got drafted, so I went with what I knew. So Horne-Francis got the award again, though, Josh. 13 disposals, had some clearances and some tackles along the way, and did a couple of nice things again, the young man.
MEGT supporting employees and apprentices for over 40 years. Would we give Anderson the hanger of the day for hangmytv.com.au?
How can we not give it to him after the way you called it?
Yeah, no, I made it out like it was Jezelenko.
I like it. I liked it.
The tackle or tackler of the game for Toro. Count on Toro to get the job done. Was there a particular
I had Luke
tackle?
Parker. I went for weight of numbers. Luke Parker had 9 of them.
Yeah,
9 hard, bone-crunching tackles, so I gave that award to him.
Kel Mills' back shot on Joy Simpkin was maybe a bump more than a tackle, but it was okay as well.
Are we
what if you're Joy Simpkin?
Are we expecting
the coaching
some danger here today? There's just 100 security guards have just walked out onto the oval.
Kick to kick,
they'll let the kick to kick.
Poor old Ben Ronk's going to have to do his post-game workout as a sub, non-playing sub, with about 4,000 people on the ground with him.
This is interesting because they wait until the teams have gone off the ground.
I think he's trying to hurry and just get as much done as he can.
Josh, because he's sprinting.
Yeah, that's right. So he's just trying to get as much possibly done
I knew you were going to say that.
as he can.
He's doing sprint reps. And you've gone with, he is, because he's running.
What was the coaching move of the day for TC? Boxes home for trays, canopies and toolboxes.
I went with Chad Warner playing on ball nearly the whole game. And I think he's going to get in the votes. I've just spoken to the chairman of selectors. I just love the capacity of this young guy and the evolution of where his game was at the start of this season to where it sits right now. So well done to the coaching staff in the pre-season to build this kid up and then give him an opportunity for 2 hours on a weekend to do what he's damn good at.
So there's a bit of confusion here around the score. So we've got Larky at 8.
Yeah, I
But
thought
there's
North Melbourne
we're
kicked
having
14 goals.
this is where we've had some confusion. They've got him down at the host broadcaster. I've just seen their stats. They've got him down as.
That's why there was confusion.
They've
with
got
the
him
2
down
goals.
as 7.
So Larky's didn't count, right? That's what's happened.
Oh, so they've given him the
So
kick and
Larky's-
realised it wasn't his.
Larky's actually only got the 7 goals.
Yeah,
When I say only, that's still a equal career.
And that's
best.
why I had it at 14. I just couldn't work out why it was wrong. And so the Larky decision that we couldn't work out, Larky's kicked a goal, then Zerha's got the free kick in the goal square. The Larky one hasn't counted.
But he was dumped with Zerha lining up for
yeah, I
about
know
50.
that, but that's what's happened.
So they've given 50.
Yes,
because
they've just paid just down
the bigger
ground
penalty.
once.
It's not because if it was let me think because it's the whatever the bigger penalty is.
Yes, because originally they counted it. Larky was in the book as 8.
Yeah, so
and it's been taken away.
Yeah, so I think everyone's just gone. Well, it looked like 2 goals. We called it as 2 goals. We wrote it down as 2 goals, but clearly they've worked their way through it because it's had no impact, even though he did it and kicked it. The Larky goal, nothing happened. We didn't go and start play again.
Because the goal was actually kicked straight after it being the only one that should have been played.
Very confusing, but that makes a lot of sense to me because I had them down for 14. I just could not work out why I was wrong. Now I understand why. Well, I don't understand why. I know why.
So it's only 7 for Nick.
We apologise. I don't know if anyone was. We didn't have anyone who was able to ascertain that information with the crew behind us. So we apologise if we've given you listening the bum steer.
Well, now you know. But it was hard. I mean, I don't know how we were supposed to work it out because
we're very quick. We've got to get out of here. Give us your 3, 2, 1 for AFL Nations Player of the Year. Thanks to Henley Homes. Henley completed homes now selling in Mickleham and Tarneet. Henley.com.au, and you've got about 20 seconds to do it.
Do you want to go, Jerker, or me?
Yeah.
All right, Chad Warner.
You've
I've given
10 seconds.
Chad Warner the 1 vote, 20 disposals, 3 goals, 2. Nick Larky with his 8 or 7 goals, whichever one you want. He got the 2, but I thought Luke Parker was best on ground today. 29 disposals, 7 clearances, 9 tackles, a handful of inside 50s. He controlled the centre.
Larky, 7 goals unmissable for Drinkwise. Choose to Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you Drinkwise. So the Swans into 4th on the ladder for 40 wings. Totally temper sale on now at 40 wings. 40 wings are serious about sleep. When we take calls for Star 21, discover the difference. Thanks to the team behind us. Thanks to JJ. Thanks to Dell. We're off to West Coast and Adelaide. Congratulations on a magnificent career, Josh Kennedy. Coates High, we're more than high. We're